you know what? Screw it. What's up, everybody? This is Sports Goofs number 178. I'm Francisco. I'm joined by my good buddy Charles here, as he was about to do an anecdote for me about certain test uh disposal. Let's just
So,
say.
so my thing is, I this is how it started. We were talking about accommodations for high-end testing and how I was just jealous. I would hope that I just had like one broken toe or something to be able
Mm.
to take law school exams and the bar exam. That was 3 hours long, and at least give me an additional hour, hour and a half. Not because I was nervous, not because I had any issues, but I think I have to always dehydrate myself in some way, shape, or capacity because I just remember every law school exam. I hear the start. And for those who would like to have a visualization how this goes in law school, you don't even see your teacher. You spent an
Nah.
entire semester building this bond of hatred of like a professor, and I like the majority of my professors, but they're not there to be your buddies. They barely remember your names. You're just point A, point one who reads a lot, one who's a gunner, one who never has the case, but it will like BS it, one who doesn't know the case and doesn't know anything at all, and I'm not going to question it. That's the at least you build a relationship, and then you get to these law school exams that, mind you, it's really the first year. Once you get to year two, you figure it out. It's fine. Like trust me, guys. If you
Mm.
ever do proceed, even though I hate law school exams because it's so silly and it's so unnecessary. Just do pass fails at the end of the day. You're ready to do it for some of your curriculum. But I'm getting there. There's some mean lady. And you know what the thing is? It's not even anybody who works at the law school. It's like some undergrad
Yeah.
who's like volunteering,
Proctor.
who literally looks like the love child, since I guess Hogwarts Legacy came in today. I'm gonna do it. That looks like the love child of um the guy Filch, who had Mrs. Norris. It's been a bit since I went on the Harry Potter lore.
Mm.
And then like Rita Skeeter just had a baby, and they're created that proctor. And my problem is you have a 3 hour exam. A good law professor, because when you actually know the law and you know how to argue it in a law school exam,
Mm.
there's nothing difficult. A good law professor would be able to create 50 issues in like one big, you know,
Thing. Yeah.
doctrinal thing,
Yeah.
and then you have to figure out how you evaluate your time and max out to the third hour.
Yeah.
I'm that guy who by hour one has already probably had to try to go to the bathroom twice because I always have to pee. The first 15 minutes, I just feel it. And I'm like, oh
So,
no.
so that's why you were vehemently defending people, like immediately once the plane takes off, just
Yeah.
have to get up and take a shit.
And I have to literally dehydrate myself, not eat anything. And I'm always hungry. This was when I was doing the super duper powerlifting days. I don't remember. Like there's the memes on there of like how like the powerlifters always have to stack on something. I was that guy. And it is just terrible because 3 hours in my normal day to day as an adult right now, 34 years old, when I don't have court, and trust me, I do find excuses to go, I can at least pee within 3 hours 4 or 5 times. I drink a lot of water. If I
Okay.
need something sugary, I need it there. So there
All
I
right,
am
all
on
right.
a intense, stress induced, sitting in uncomfortable chairs, bent over, wondering really what I'm doing is the first 5 minutes is after I read the prompt, I'm looking around my peers to see who do I have to run ahead of in the curve. Because it wasn't about whether you're smart or not. You want the book award? I got a book award. I know. Be shocked that I got a book award. I
Okay.
also should have a book award for trial advocacy, but figuring out wasn't going to give it to me. Even though he comes to me and says, you have the best thing I saw in years. I'm like, thanks. I just basically played the first 5 games like, I don't know what the hell half of this stuff is. Bing, 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 bing. I'm smarter than him, her, him, her, him, her. I'm not gonna, and that's law school. It's about survival. But then there's my bladder go, ooh. And then there's something I learned, and I think it was the second year of law school. And here's the thing. When you have multiple, FIU did this. If you had multiple classes that were supposed to have the same test days, they weren't going to put you, thankfully, 4 exams in one sit-in. So they split mine out. But the problem with that is the way they sequestered it in like in the middle of the day, I remember having two of them, and then FIU would give you the free lunch, and they always got it from the barbecue place that is not good, but you're literally a poor, starving law student. And I had them rice, and I had the meat, or I had whatever the barbecue food was, and I felt the dueling banjos of my asshole, curse word number one, about to go, and my whole fear was like, am I going to shit myself? Curse word number two, am I not going to poop myself? Why does this matter if I poop myself on Pierce? This is not kindergarten. Oh, I think that girl is kind of cute. Maybe I don't want to poop myself here immediately. Maybe I'm just having an emotional breakdown, which is common in law school. And I think law school we always joke that law school doesn't teach you how to be lawyers. Law school teaches you how to take tests very well. Because trust me, guys, I know some lawyers that should not be lawyers because they are dumb and they don't have people skills and working with clients, or they don't know how to do with high pressure. Law school also taught me one additional fact. When you have the biggest test on your line, you will control your bodily fluids and bowels, because when it got to the bar exam, 3 years of brutal conditioning gave way. And I was like, all right, I'm going to crap or pee myself here. Let's do it. And I did it. But I think it wasn't even anxiety when I took, like, you had rage when you read it was the transaction one. I had I'm just ready to be done because I was spending 14 hours a day. And I'm not being hyperbolic. This is literally how I did it. Or in my head, mentally, I'm saying it is all or nothing. If you fail, you're going to run out in front of the first bus that you see. I'm an intense personality. Maybe that's why sometimes I am a good litigator sometimes. But that was the whole law school. Now, in court, if I have a big trial, it's good because I'm in the minute, man. I don't have to think. I get to hear and reflex. It's great. So, yeah, go to law school, kids. You'll learn how to pee yourself. You'll get an iron bladder. I can't. Now, here, if you know what, sometimes you have to have, ladies love the fart jokes. We too. All right. So I'm going to say I made a mistake like 3 months ago or 4 months ago eating Fats chicken before court. And I didn't do the waffles.
Non-sponsor, everybody.
Not well, a continuous, even though I've been good because now student loans are coming back next month. Wipe my debt, Joe. So I haven't been eating out as much. I haven't had that or JoJo's in a bit. But I remember like waiting for a court for my case to be called. And then you know how sometimes you can get the stomach gurgle that's really like the atomic bomb fart that's coming, but it's really sounds similar to you're just hungry. I had one of those, so I was lucky because sometimes you just know. You just know, and I don't think any client is going to trust their lawyer when they hear the. Oh. I would be like, "Why are you nervous? I'm nervous. Dude, I have to go against this person in court. Why are you nervous?" I'm like, "I'm not nervous about that. I got you. I'm nervous that after I gave this fantastic closing argument that I'm just going to have the trombones of heaven come
out." I find it funny because I called this episode Vanity Unfair.
Oh God, that's so perfect.
Because I feel like I dealt with some vanity over the course of the last week. In any case, and it almost sounds like I'm talking about non-sponsors, which actually is going to tie into it.
I think that's good to what I'm actually going to tell you as a follow-up story of how I had to take the L for the first time in a long time in life. So this is perfect.
Ooh, are you talking now? You going to tell it now, or is this?
I can tell it now because we're talking about vanity. What do I pride myself most on in our friendship?
What? Oh, in our friendship? Because
in friendship, in the show, and everything.
I don't know.
The deals, the ability
yes,
to get the deals.
Yes,
and I will be the Walter White thing. And kids, I didn't just shoot the gun. I started the head race without stretching because you know how we had the Nintendo thing. That was that 15%. Not my gift card. The 15% I got from the Nintendo code was for the Nintendo store, not the eShop.
Yeah. Oh, the online store that they have. That's like. Yeah. Okay, I see.
So I am not be able to get Metroid Prime Remastered for $35. It's gonna be $39.99. However, sometimes second place is as good as first place because I did. Because remember that final concoction plan me talking about Metroid Prime and then Mario Kart DLC for the amount that I have.
Yeah,
kids sometimes understand something. Second place is still better is just as good as first place if you know how to market it. Think of it this way. So, because I had a residual $7.41 in my Best Buy gift card, and because Best Buy Prime membership, my membership, you pay $50, got 15% off of whatever the amount that you get on certain gift cards. I went with a $70 gift card, buddy, 50% off of that was, I think, if math serves me right, like $59, and with the original $70, I got a $7 gift card for $52, which means I got 2 games, or a game and a DLC that would normally cost me $60 for $52, and I have still some leftovers of it. But I have to take the L. I miscalculated.
Okay,
that's on me. That's
yeah.
on me. That's
yeah,
on me.
you didn't read the fine line.
I didn't read the fine line. Line. But it went on a credit card. You know how I feel about stuff going on the Best Buy card because I'm getting points from it.
I do want to talk about this because I feel like you presented to me a proposal here.
I did. Yeah, this is a sports show.
It's been very sports happening.
I mean, might as well, right?
I guess we'll talk some gaming, but because our plan has been to try and bridge us across. Like for me, my plan is I'm trying to get to the Switch 2 ultimately in the end. Because I have the PC, it's got so many games on it. I know I can play this for the rest of my life, and I won't run out of games. That's fine and all. But the last year of a Nintendo console is rough. It's always rough. There's large gaps. This
has a happy ending.
But
they're happiest ending, but it's better than how it was with the Wii U.
That's true. That was atrocity. That was an atrocity. Getting through the Wii U's dying days was really awful. However, the Switch, they've just been throwing out games because I am Nintendo super fanboy over here, have pretty much played and bought all those games that they're remaking right now. And so the last Nintendo Direct didn't really entice me. Like it was Peach really next year, and that's it. That's really it for me. So there's a massive gap. So right now, I just have to play the stuff that I don't have. And we get the only upcoming stuff is Mario Wonder, Wario, and Peach. That's all that's off the top of my head that Nintendo's popping out with in the next year and a half before the Switch 2 comes out. And they're like, Mario Odyssey 2, everybody. That's what's I'm trying to get through. In the meantime, Charles came to me with a proposal. He's like, hey, I got this Best Buy membership. And Charles, who loves to deal and knows that if you can get more people in on buying stuff for him, I just, Venmo him or whatever the heck, start getting, accumulating reward points, which will turn into more money for him. Mm-hmm. And I, in the end, will be able to buy the games because I pay full price anyways because I'm a shill, yeah. I'm a shill for Nintendo, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I am not ashamed to say it, and I love Nintendo. I love it to death, but and I feel like the games are worth the price that they're asking me to pay for. So Mario Wonder is one. We've got Wario, and then I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone by getting a free game because Charles is part of that membership. He gets a free game.
Which works on pre-orders.
Exactly, which would work for Pikmin 1 and 2, which I was going to give to my nephew for his birthday. And instead of going to like someplace like Target or something like that and getting that by itself, I could just, once again, kill 2 birds with 1 stone and get the games that I want that I'm going to play. And then get him the game, and just give my sister a heads up. Hey, don't buy this. I already got it for him. So it very much titillated me. I was like, are we gonna DP this or what? It's not technically a curse word, but it's very vulgar, if y'all know what I mean. So in any case, yeah, that was very nice. I guess this is a sports show, everybody. I guess we should talk about sports because it's been a pretty interesting week, and we have to talk about certain things. We're going to get on the petty train at some point because stuff went down.
You're going to be the conductor this time.
Maybe, just maybe. But
technically, it's going to be a DP a petty because depending what you're being petty on, there's a certain coach I'm definitely going to be petty on.
Exactly. Well. I feel like it'll be interesting, but before that, hockey preseason has started. The score crawl has finally added NHL games that are going on right now. The Panthers played already, opening up in Sunrise the other day. I'm very happy about that. I'll start focusing on the Panthers and everything like that. Dame is still not in Miami.
He's never coming.
Dame is still not in Miami, and you know what? Fine. We don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah, well, it's not. May I? May I?
Go ahead. This is our NBA talk.
It is understandable that you guys don't want Tyler Hero for whatever reason, because I hear so many people talk about, oh, he's on a nice player contract. Oh, he's not this. I'm like, you didn't watch him play last year. You didn't see the stats. What you remember is that he was not available for the duration of the playoffs. That's legitimately what it is. In basketball, let me ask you this: how many players are getting those max contracts and actually producing? Ben Simmons ain't producing.
No.
A lot of the other guys that are come up with some of their deals aren't producing. I'm gonna go for it. Rookie. What was he? This is his 4th year coming in, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, so this is literally what we're gonna do. We're actually gonna go a little analytical on here because I'm sick of you guys with your idiocy. But when in a sport, there is nothing almost as devastating as basketball draft picks. I wouldn't even say baseball is as bad because there's such a surplus of guys that
so much volume when you through the drafts with baseball. It's like, okay, fine, but there's plenty of busts in the first round that we can all. I mean, there's so many top 10 lists that you can go on YouTube and find.
But I'm gonna give you 2021 first because you're gonna go in the next couple of rounds, right? Where you hear different things. But Cade Cunningham, not really doing much in Detroit. Jalen Green, I saw him play live. I don't see anything. Cavaliers have Evan Mobley. He's in between. Raptors have Scotty Barnes, who's about to expire. His contract's about to expire. And depending what Toronto wants to do, because they say now Toronto's the front runner. Of course, because always Toronto. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Go from there. Jalen Suggs, not anything. Josh Giddey, fine 1 year. Is he going to be consistent? Franz Wagner, that's fine. That's just the year after Tyler Hero. And the reason why I mention it is because the Dame saga can go on for another season. So I want you to really contemplate that, guys. But if we're going to go into 2020s of what you're coming around, okay, you want Anthony Edwards, worth it. James Wiseman didn't do anything. LaMelo Ball, they maxed him. Is he going to play this season? Right? He's often injured. He's on the play decline. Bulls draft Patrick Williams. I will honestly tell you, to quote the little meme from Kiki Palmer, I have no idea who that man is. And that's the problem with some of these basketballs. Isaac Okoro and Cavaliers, who? Hawks and their Onyeka Okongwu, who? I actually think I said right. Pistons with Killian Hayes, that team's in despair. That team is the vacuum of the suck. Knicks with Obi Toppin, they were getting highlights of it because they're like, oh, it's defensive stuff. And then he really didn't do anything.
Yeah, he's in Indiana now.
To play out, coming into. So that's 2020. So I'm sorry, I can't do math. The 2020 is the next year coming into it. But then let's get into the 2019 stuff. Ready for this stuff? This is the good stuff. Like out of that one, Anthony Edwards is the only one that I feel confident, despite his letting of America, fail. But everything else, sure. But here we go. Are you ready for this, my friend?
Alrighty.
Pelicans. Zion Williamson? Already done. Already don't even care about it. Already he is on the Greg Oden, but there's potential if he isn't getting hurt sometimes, right? Yeah. That's what's leading to. Ja Morant, fantastic. Sure worth the money. Might not even get there. And the reason why I'm doing the comparisons of now and then, I'm not talking about current players that have been on the roster since 2016, because probably the guys who are only 2016, 2017 are only like 26 years old. They're so young, Francisco. It's so weird.
Yeah.
How they draft into it. But I'm giving you the idea of like, you're telling me this man's not worth his weight and what he has produced on the play in the regular season, in postseason. Because here comes this next man, RJ Barrett, the bane of New York Knicks' existence. He might have had a couple of good games going into the postseason from that first round, if I remember, but nothing else. DeAndre Hunter, I don't know, is he even still on the teams? Darius Garland, I think, didn't he get pinched out to another team, or he might still be? They got rid of one of them.
He's in Cleveland.
He's in Cleveland still. Yeah. It was the other guy that they sent over to Utah. Jarrett Culver, I don't know who he is. Kobe White, I know he was starting. Jackson Hayes,
Chicago.
Ryu Hachimura, who's on the Lakers now, that got signed for whatever the Lakers could afford at that time period because his stock in Washington was so low. Cam Reddish, I don't think Cam is still on the team. In fact, I think he was on the Knicks coming in.
He's with the Lakers.
He's with the Lakers now. 3 teams. Cam Johnson, he's somewhere. PJ Washington, who is now more noticeable, isn't for having the baby mama drama, You know who? You know, listen. Tyler has the one of the ugliest tattoos I've ever seen on a white guy, but I don't think he has. That's his notoriety coming into it. So there's that. Romeo Langford. It's because Tyler Hero came at 13, but I'm giving you the
a lot of these guys aren't on their team anymore. You're coming in staticky now, Charles.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's probably because I got so things. They're not even on their teams anymore, or they haven't produced in the league. Chumo Kiki.
Yeah, they're either on not on their teams or they're buried in the G League.
I don't have to say more, but out of 30, Jordan Poole being 28, yeah, he got a max contract. How'd that work out in the playoffs?
Grant Williams is on this list too.
Yeah. So, we already know about Grant, Mr. Paul Pierce, successor, just shit in the bed a little bit, not as literally, but close to it. But out of 30, I got 3 maybe that I would say you can at least build around, contribute to, or at least rely on for a couple games in the series. Because isn't that why you pay players in the NBA? It's no longer just being the face of the franchise when you can have super teams. It's really going to be like, are you the guy who can take over when we need to happen as a culture? That's basically what the Suns did with Chris Paul to come join, right? Well, Devin Booker and DeAndre, I know, but we need a guy. You're now collecting pieces to just be the man for a game, 2 games, an entire series. We do not have the real OGs anymore, who they were the definitive players in the postseason run. And I want you to really think on this. Think on that, contemplate that, how that actually plays in through. Because the Heat lost to Jokic. He's the exception, how I feel of it, because he did dominate the entire postseason. Year prior to that, it was Steph, right? And it was Steph and the Warriors, but they were just shooting. Everybody was shooting. Jordan Poole contributed. Klay Thompson contributed. Then came Steph. Year before that, it was Lakers. If my memory's working, or is it not working?
I mean, it was the bubble. Well, 2021 was the Bucks.
Oh, the Bucks. Yeah, it was Giannis. It was because remember, Giannis used to be the reward, but they had to have some guys who turned. So it was Giannis. It was Chris. I forgot his last name. Right now. I'm not in basketball. Yeah, Middleton. Thank you. I'm not in basketball mode. But then who do they have to trade for? The former point guard from the Sixers. That's going to come to me. That didn't do anything. Drew Holiday. There's a point to what I'm saying. Even with the Lakers, when we lost, what was the cornerstone of we can't handle the whole postseason play on one guy's faults alone? It was LeBron and AD. That
and the Heat were injured going into it, so Bam gets injured. I'm just saying.
That's all we're gonna tell ourselves. That's all. That's all we're saying. The point of what I'm saying is, so you're telling me a guy who is on a roster who has value in being a 3-point shooter, who is better on his long-range shooting than he used to be. Would I like to see him go to the rim a little bit more? Sure. Would I like to see him, be better defensively? Obviously. But unfortunately, you're going to have players that have defensive liabilities for 2 reasons. One, because the NBA is too quick to call player fouls playing defense. You guys thought it's bad on what is roughing the passer in football. May I present to you the entire NBA season where I'm like, I don't know if that's really a foul. It could look like a chart. It could look at all these things.
Phantom fouls now.
And we can't even
the hand waving motion will get you a foul.
And we can't even review it. And then the thing is, it's one of those things of real time versus non-real time. I would venture, Francisco, the last one besides Jokic, and you have a high chance of a repeat next year with that guy. Special player, even though he was a Parasolopharos, but I can grow up a little bit. I can eat my broccoli, right? It might have been Kawhi when he was with the Raptors. However, big asterisks on that, because everybody and their mother was limping off that basketball court except for Seth. So I'm sick of legitimately everyone just calling Tyler trash. And if we keep him, guess what? That's fine, because who do we lose? We lost Max Struss, who you knew I wasn't fond of. I wasn't. I saw him play live. He bricks it out, man. Going 4 for 10 at the 3 can be useful, but it's depending where the other 6 shots that you missed were occurring, like in last-minute games. We lost Gabe Vincent. I actually will miss him a little bit more because we have a bad starting point guard situation, and I'd rather go for the guy who's probably going to average out 11 points, 4 assists a game, than Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, basically anybody.
So Yeah, right. That's how it feels like. And do I think that at some point Andy and Pat are going to say, you know what? We won't go for Dame. We're going to go for some other guys. I actually think that's the play. I think they're going to go for cheap expiring deals on some kind of trade component, not the big massive trades. But if he goes says Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez, or Jamie Jaquez, I don't know how he says it. I'm getting to learn the triple J because I don't want to learn a guy's name who might not be on my team, right? But now I'm accepting it.
Yeah.
They might say maybe if you're not liking these assets and we can keep Tyler, maybe we can bring in some good veteran studs who have some contributions.
Yeah. They could pick up some stuff that could round out the team. And
well, this was a god awful NBA. This was a god awful NBA free agency, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, no big things happened.
Yeah, nothing. Everybody was just kind of waiting to see. That's why the whole Dame thing took over the entire offseason, really.
Yeah, the same way about it. Literally, it's so weird because here I am poo-pooing on everything about Aaron Rodgers when him being the whole study and the focus for the NFL when Dame was the NBA equivalent. But guys, let me read to you what this free agency was. And wait, there will be more next year. You had Jeremiah Grant being signed to Portland for that ridiculous amount of money. Fred VanVleet going to Houston. Kyrie going to Dallas being re-signed. That was out of desperation, but it's Kyrie. I'll give him the play that comes into it. Cam Johnson re-signing with Brooklyn on the twist. So yes, he did get re-picked up. Chris Middleton got some big money. All right, that's fine. But then when you look at guys who talk about contributions, you feel comfortable. Excuse me. You feel comfortable putting in all that money into Kyle Kuzma, who has his deficiencies. Dylan Brooks, Jakob Poeltl. Struss even got big money. I don't want Struss.
The Heat were not going to pay that.
Million. Austin Reeves with Lakers. I mean, okay, he had like one notable season, and man, I don't know. So I think Pat and Andy are just gonna be like, all right, Grant Williams going to Dallas for $53 million. Get the fuck out of here. I think they're gonna. How much PJ Washington get? PJ Washington ended up getting 3 years, $48 million. I think they looked into it and they said, hey, you know what? Let's just work with what we have, and maybe we can get somebody who has expiring contracts that we can re-sign, but actually are a little bit beyond the. Because what is Heat culture? They're getting guys who never had a chance, but our scouting team is so
exactly
deep.
Yeah. That's kind of been the Heat's secret. Well, it hasn't kind of been. It is the Heat's secret weapon compared to the rest of the NBA.
I like how we didn't talk about
pisses everybody
NBA
off
at all for so long, and then. Now we are, but let me tell you.
We're almost here, almost to training camp, and so.
Let me tell you who the NBA 2024 free agents are. So this is all going to come together, kids. Get ready for this: Pascal Siakam, Buddy Hield, Royce O'Neal, Tobias Harris. Clay's going back to the thing. Let's just accept that. Joe Harris, some of the guys a little bit older. Gordon Hayward. We Gary Payton was on the team at the end of the line here, guys. It's happening. Things can happen. The Morris brothers can come back. And then you get some young guys like Monte Morris.
I mean, I got to hear team by team here on ESPN. They're got an article up here.
Okay.
So let's see.
But there's some dudes that we can just kind of build in and keep if they feel that the team is tanking. Huh? Yeah, yeah, right.
He's on Atlanta. Okay. Let's see. Boston's and Jaylen Brown. Yeah, you already mentioned Chris Tapps.
Yeah.
2024, let's see, Brooklyn, Joe Harris, Spencer Dinwiddie, Nick Clax. Okay. Charlotte, LaMelo's a restricted free agent, so Charlotte will have first crack at trying to sign him. Gordon Hayward, that's
I'll take a stab because the vision is
once again damaged goods, and he'll be cheap.
These are guys who are on an expiring contract who has a year really left of what they got
Chicago
going on. We'll take him.
DeRozan.
I mean, they would never, but
and Drummond
for 1 year.
Yeah. Let's see. 2024 Cleveland, Cedi Osman, Lamar Stevens, Dallas, Reggie Bullock, and everybody else are restricted players.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking on Sport Track.
Denver, Detroit, Killian Hayes, Alec Burks. Okay. Golden State, Clay is not going anywhere. Gary Payton's son is there. Kenya Martin Jr. for Houston. And then, let's see, 2024, Buddy Hield for Indiana. Let's see. I'm just looking at guys who are notable, the first guys. The Clippers, Paul George, Kawhi. So there's something that sticks out there, and then Marcus Morris Sr., Eric Gordon, the Lakers, AD, LeBron. But you know what?
We're talking about guys who
Memphis,
there's a fair play.
Yeah, Memphis,
depending on the team of what they would do.
I'm not looking at restricted free agents because people aren't.
No, it's silly.
Yeah. Miami's are Depot and
we
Lowry.
trade Depot.
Oh, that's right. This article came out a while ago. Lowry, so we can get him off the books.
Please.
Yes.
Please.
Milwaukee, right now, Grayson Allen, and then Drew has like a player option.
And hear me out. He's a prick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is prick curse words?
No, not really.
All right. He's a prick, but he's got some 3-point shooting, which is always what the Heat needs, and he already plays low-level defense, ladies and gentlemen. I present to you Tyner Max Struss.
Yeah. Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, but he's a restricted free agent.
He got
Mike Conley. Okay, yeah. Mike Conley, Kyle Anderson.
I don't want my one request to Andy.
This is Josh Richardson is still in the Pelicans here, so he's
this is pretty out there.
Yeah. That's it. New York, Josh Hart, Isaiah. That's okay.
Just don't give us.
OKC's building up an entire. They're doing the Baltimore Orioles thing right now.
The oldest player is like probably 23.
They're the Baltimore Orioles of the NBA right now. So we'll see if that actually comes into fruition with an actual
side note
season.
Background game F099 because now that I put on the Nintendo funds, there's no real incentive for me to go buy Metroid or what's the other one? The Mario Kart DLC. I just have to remember that I have $7 in eShop funds before I do certain things.
And the video game background music is Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Miniland Mayhem. So it's pretty good.
Maybe I would do that with my $7. There's so many possibilities. It would probably be a
good game. I'm telling you, it's a good game. It'll last you a long time if you really get into it. Let's see. Orlando's got Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, Bowl. You want to do it for
Markelle Fultz intrigues me. If the Heat do some stuff well, it's taking on some players.
If there's anybody who can get any talent out of somebody, it'll be the Heat. Yeah.
We can't heal injuries. God knows. I wish. Right?
Philly, Tobias Harris, which would be funny to see him come to Miami.
Who's to say it's not a possibility?
Tobias Harris over me.
Yeah, but that's not even knocking Tobias Harris. But statistically speaking, Tobias Harris has underperformed a contract. But I am never going to say no to a man getting his payday, baby.
Yeah. PJ Tucker has a player option.
Fuck him. Don't.
Let's see. Cameron Payne,
he waited 7 years
Phoenix.
to get into the league.
Yeah. Portland,
he went to Philly because he's a bum
Watford, whatever. Sacramento, DeMontis Sabonis, Kessler Edwards, Malik Monk, PJ Dozier.
I would take a run on Malik Monk. Why not? If the Lakers can do it, why can't I?
Let's see. San Antonio, Doug McDermott.
Thompson, I think.
No, actually.
No.
Zach Collins, Kem Birch. Toronto, we were talking Siakam. So Pascal is available. Thaddeus Young, Otto Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr. Utah.
Guys who have been in the league for like 12 years.
Utah, Jordan Clarkson, Kelly Olynyk.
No.
No.
Go look at episode like 85 on my Kelly Olynyk run.
Damian Jones. Okay, and then Washington, Tyus Jones, Monte Morris, DeLon Wright.
I would take a slice of life on Monte Morris.
And Danilo Gallinari. So there you go. That's the entire 2024 NBA free agency.
Finish this round at 30. Now. Yeah, so to summarize it, even if we don't have it, if you tell us the missing things that we don't have was a Max Strus who sometimes produced, and then a Gabe Vincent, I think we're okay. There's missing pieces. I'm going to be the first person to tell you missing pieces. I'm interested in seeing, and I guess this is a good segue because football's bored me in the 3 weeks, so I'm glad to kind of switch it to basketball.
It's a variety, yeah, that's fine.
And with the reason why I'm excited to see is that I do want to see growth and fitness coming out of not necessarily of BAM, but how we're going to kind of workshop a little bit for BAM as more of a point center there is a strong Bam is never going to shoot the three. Doesn't have to. And remember, last year at this time, Joe was saying, "Oh, trade Bam." Now I don't have to if you have his rule. I want to see Bam open up the floor a little bit, being in the post and passing out to somebody, but that does require some shooters because it's clear we don't have strong point guards. Jimmy plays point enough, unless you're, and this would be a little bit of Spoelstra if he's not a stickler to the dogmatic ways. He would slot Tyler into a starting point position and we trade for a shooting guard.
I could see that, especially with Kyle coming off the books next season. So
bench, so you have a change of pace. So in case things aren't working, goes from there. Because I don't know what we're doing with Caleb Martin. He's the one I have concerns on. On like, can you be consistent? What is the amount of minutes that you need? Are you a 25er? Can you do 40 and then be the PJ Tucker role? If you just, I have no problem with somebody having the Jay Crowder, PJ Tucker road. Yeah. Okay. You know, I that's the problem too, where the not the everyman, but the casual baseball fans don't understand. It is perfectly fine. Hear me out, please. This might kill people. It is perfectly fine to play 40 minutes and only have like 8 points a game if you have good turnover stats on defense, if you have decent rebound for a stretch 4, and if you just don't turn the ball over yourself. It's okay. Yeah. Because we got Caleb on the goddamn sheet.
Cog on the machine.
I think it's like 3 years, $35 million is that man's contract. But sometimes, and we know this, there's a man named Tyler Johnson, who you overpay, right? And they feel like they have to do more of what they do.
Right.
Unlike Tyler, who actually was producing at levels I thought was acceptable. Because what people don't understand, oh, it's a lot of money to pay for Tyler. No. Actually, it's less than what some of these other guys are getting when they're hitting 200, 250 on super max deals. And I want you to understand something. When you get stuck on the super max deals, it's because you as an organization are kind of effed because you don't get a franchise tag that the way you do with football. So you literally have to eat 80, essentially, as I would call it, $80 million in loss to even have a damn chance.
Yeah.
You know, to keep and retain a player.
Buyouts happened after like the 2016 offseason.
Yeah.
And all those horrible signings.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. And I don't think Caleb would be it, but you know, right now, he is going to be looked at as a functional number 3 of like who we can look to scoring or pace setting and everything like that. And that's why I kind of do like Tyler a little bit because I think he can handle the ball pretty well. I just think the thing that needs to come from it is what kind of shooting guards would be. But if you're going to put him as a hybrid point, fine, whatever. I've seen worse. You know, not everybody has to be that typical old school guy who has to try to get triple doubles.
If there's anybody who could scheme it, it'd be Spoelstra.
Yeah, because we play a very like basic kind of offense. I know that pisses people off when I say in that nature, but there's no lie in there. It's like, all right, center and power forwards are going to do that. You know, Jimmy's going to kind of do ISO ball a little bit until someone gets up there. Then we're going to get this barrage of 3-point shooting, and then out of nowhere, no one's going to shoot the 3. We go cold.
Mm-hmm.
We love you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's okay. Heat culture, baby.
Yeah.
Tyler Fuego. There. I feel like Mac. I feel like Mac. That's what it is. I feel like Mac.
Well, let me see. Let me go down. I had something on my list here. And yeah, today was the anniversary of the Jose Fernandez Marlins tribute game where D. Gordon hits the home run. So I posted a couple things the last couple of days. The day before that was when he died. He officially died. And just a couple posts on my Marlins history thing. I'm not going to be like ESPN and the NBA, just dragging out.
They already forgot about him.
Just dragging out, Kobe's body every time they need some ratings. I'm not going to do that. They completely milk the teats of a corpse of Kobe Bryant, right? It's been my biggest criticism of the NBA. And my goodness, I was in LA. Charles, you know how many Kobe?
Please.
You know how many Kobe?
Segue it.
You know how many Kobe murals are in Los Angeles, man? But, I like the best thing to happen to the NBA was Kobe dying.
But know your audience though. Know your audience though. So that's kind of expected a little bit, right?
I get it now. I
guess like New Hampshire.
If Tom Brady died and yeah, I guess so, right? That'd be the same thing.
I mean, so that begs a good question. the same way how you would make the argument for the Carolina Panthers example. You're Carolina, but are you more loved in South Carolina? Or are you more loved in North Carolina? I mean, South Carolina doesn't get any recognition. North Carolina has essentially so much, and then you get the Petey Pablo. Go on, raise up, take a shirt off, spin around your head a helicopter. I just say that having been from the Carolinas, but do you get claim on that? So for the Tom Brady days, because what the problem is,
Still the New England Patriots, yeah.
Yes, but where do you play ball?
I mean, you see Family Guy. They live in Rhode Island. They claim the Patriots and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. People can have opinion, but I have a stronger argument. If you play and your stadium is in Massachusetts, I think you lost it, bud. Oh, I just got knocked out. I think you lost it. I don't think you get to cry for Tom Brady if you're in Connecticut, if you're in New Hampshire.
So if Tom Brady tragically dies, we're not seeing the murals in Maine or Vermont.
I'm sorry. I think if Rhode Island wants to be, a football cheering team, go funnel in some people, go buy them out. The Rhode Island Rays, get Andrew on here. There you go. You go and you assimilate, man.
The Rays just had a new ballpark plan that's gonna keep them in St. Petersburg, right next to Tropicana Field. That's the idea. But we've seen this before. So I don't really want to talk too much about it. Maybe they stay, maybe they don't. It's going to be a fixed roof because the Marlins have only opened their roof.
It's just delaying the inevitable.
Like 10 times in the last 10 years.
If you start changing your diet at 70 because you're afraid of bad cholesterol, you already got bad cholesterol.
So yeah. In any case, that's what's gonna the Rays. I guess they'll stay. It feels like they're gonna stay. I feel like the A's are just gonna move. Regardless, yeah, that's like that stuff. The Vegas Golden Knights have a $69 TV package, which is great.
Well, it's not just great.
69 games.
As someone who is both two out-of-state fan bases with the Yankees and the Titans, I would like. Granted, the Titans don't really make me want to watch football, to be honest with you.
We'll get on Petty trying to talk about that.
Well, it's as expected. But the Yes Network, I would, please someone tell me if there is one. Actually, I would pay for home games. If you had a package that says, "Do you want to watch Yankee?" I don't want to pay the MLB TV.
I'm gonna look that up. Hold on 1 second. I won't look it up on the show, but
because the reason why I hate like MLB Network, MLB TV is they're still subject to blackouts. I'm like, why am I paying for you then? For the love of the game, so I can see just the Oakland Athletics just tragic out. If I got nothing else to do in the background as I'm doing laundry, I'll just listen to Suave Mente for the 100th time.
Wait, you can watch the Yankees on Amazon Prime?
I think they had a recent thing.
I'm looking at an article. This is September 20th, 2023.
There was a game that they would put on for Prime. I think it was
okay. They have a few games. Actually, no, they have not all the games, but like 4 every month or something. Okay,
buddy,
that's not a lot, but
yeah, I could just wait for the TBS games that they show.
Yeah, well,
the good thing,
so they do have some Yankees games on Prime through Yes or whatever, like a deal that they fantastic.
Made. I don't, but I think
I don't know if they have Yes. Yeah, I don't see anything about like a Yes Plus or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there isn't, and just do it because I would do it just for home games. I don't care about like watching stuff. Anything that's a rivalry based game is going to be on TBS anyway or Fox.
Yeah, every time you face the Red Sox, yeah.
Yeah, or we get the Sunday night football games, which we don't deserve because we're not firing any certain managers anytime soon. And look, I don't have a recommended manager, but I still just don't want
anyone but Aaron Boone.
The kind of I'll do it, man. I'll do
it. So there was that news, and let me see. Let me keep going down my list. And I talked about that. All right. You know what? We're at 44 minutes.
We went really sport heavy here. Here I was. We started with bathroom delicacies and then, or indelicacies, and then gaming. And I was like, no. I'm going to do this whole Tyler Hero apology store when you put it on the Twitter or the X, whatever it is.
Yeah. I wanted to actually, let's because this kind of loop into the conversation I wanted to have. So I want to do a word from our non-sponsors. I want you to start, Charles, before I get on mine, because mine's going to be long. So people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over last week. We're doing it a bit early. It's a 45-minute mark right now, but yeah, it's our show. We can do whatever we want. And so what do you got for us, Charles?
I have to take a mental note for 2 seconds because I was not expecting this early.
Yeah.
All right, so I just crashed. It's fine. All right, let me look at what I've bought into the packages. I bought stuff from Amazon. That doesn't count anything. I'm not going to use my gym. That's unnecessary. You can go to any gym, guys. There's not one that's not better than another. Just get yourselves in there for your health. You know what? We've already mentioned it twice. I've mentioned them before, but this thing is about. Yeah, you already know what it is. This is about when we're doing a word for non-sponsors to continuously utilize people if we like. It doesn't have to be a one-time gig. I'm probably going to miss somebody who's more worthy of this, but because I was on the spot, I'm going to do it. It's Best Buy, and I would tell you that the Best Buy My membership, it's $50 a year, and it really does kind of pay for itself if you are an active gamer like myself. There's a lot of different deals that you can go with. What had tailored to me was the possibility of getting early Black Friday deals. I remember talking to you about this. I was like, listen, man, if they're going to do restricted Black Friday deals that I don't get a part of. And guys, what you need to understand is that when it comes to saving money, exorbitant amount of money on video games, and what you guys need to understand is I haven't really paid hard cash. Credit cards don't count to me. You know how it is. I haven't paid hard cash. People are like, what's that mean? So I'm like, yeah, because I'm not paying it all at once. But I haven't paid like real hard cash on anything past $10 in a very long time. 2 years maybe. I think
we've got here. I'm showing off the on the video version, the screen, the Best Buy Plus memberships, and the front and center. The first thing is the buy 2 Switch games, get 1 free.
And that's perfect, man. That works for me. I mean, I think it's not as great as their Gamers Club discount, which was fantastic. I really cheaped a lot of stuff, but Switch games are never on sale, hardly on sale.
Not
and when they are on
Nintendo,
sale, well, exactly. And if they are on sale, they're from games I already own. So you're telling me, pay for 2 full-price games, get 1 for free. Oh, and Charles, you can stack on the Best Buy gift card? I'm like, yes, I am. They're like, we got you, dog. I'm like, fantastic. Much appreciated. And then I hug them very deep and intimately. But I think also the benefit of it is that even though I used to be Mr. Physical Disc guy, I kind of do find that some of the digital deals are cheaper. So, when they go on sale, so being able to get 15% off of whatever the nominal price of that gift card is very beneficial and very helpful to me. I'm telling you guys, do not pay $50 to just use a $25 gift card for the PSN or the eShop or Game Pass. That's not useless. But for me, who has used the 100 and only had 100 for the PSN card, only had to pay $85. That's $15. Savings into it, because that's $100 worth of games you could buy for $15 off. That's smart money right into it. And then I can also share with my friends. My buddy Houdini has used it. You're welcome to use it too if you just want to do it for an eShop card. You just saw me get it. I literally today got a 70 for like 59, right? And I had some gift cards. I was able to use it to even cut down to 52. So smart me. And then there's other sales that they have coming into it. I don't really buy DVDs or Blu-rays or 4Ks anymore, but I'm sure there might be something that appeals to me. They have appliances. I don't need a laptop or headphones, but I always buy into Best Buy. My concern is that them and GameStop are going to go out of business soon. So it's like, what the hell am I going to do?
No, Best Buy ain't going out of business.
Well,
if anything, they've kind of been defying the standard.
But if you've been there, it's not as big and expansive, and everything's very web-based, and that's sometimes what happens.
I mean, they evolve. They evolve.
Yeah. So
you remember Best Buy? Remember Best Buy in the 90s when you walked in and they had the big giant Sonic, the big giant Mario? Do you remember Best Buy set up like that? I do.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I have never stepped into a Best Buy until I moved to Florida.
Really?
In West Palm Beach.
Interesting.
I lived in New York, dude.
Oh, that's right.
We had Russians selling us electronics.
Exactly. Yeah, you had the sketchy looking electronic stores.
Well, but they're legitimate electronics.
Well, I mean, they're legitimate.
You were just in LA, so you know the look. You know who I'm talking about. It's very metropolitan. You have it, in, maybe I would hope in the blocks.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
So everything I wanted. Like when I moved to Florida, it was Polk County, as you guys know how it always starts. Back in Polk County, is the way I would end up buying games if it wasn't like a Toys R Us was Hollywood Video or Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys don't understand. Like, that's why anytime I stepped into Best Buy in Circuit City, I'm like, why is everything just beige carpeting? And I worked at Circuit City when I was 16, so I used them discounts.
Oh, you were there when it was dying.
was dying, and it was just great because I was just seasonal and I was just selling iPods and everything, and I didn't know anything about because I'm always behind on technology. So I think that's why at 34 now it's about being ahead on technology, right? But I just remember like, what's an iPod? Like I'm still a Walkman guy, at that point, and then I'm like, dude, I don't even have broadband, internet. I only have, just dial up. Downloading music took forever, but damn it, we didn't have YouTube. You guys don't know how good you have it right now. But bringing it back to Best Buy, and they have conventional deals. It's easy to get gift cards there. If you have nieces, nephews, boyfriends, girlfriends who like the gaming, you could do the Geek Squad stuff. I always think that's where I got Ramona, my sweetheart, the love of my life. October 20th, she's gonna be played in full. She's been played a lot, Francisco. She's been played a lot. I'm not recommending Resident Evil 3. I am actually, but not as a non-sponsor because it was a 7. Good game, but I played Ramona on that. You see how I bring it all together. There's plenty of games now. You got me looking at my list. Did I mention Dead Space remake?
You got it from there.
I got it from Best Buy.
Well, that was the other thing I had on my list here because when Charles begins to play the scary games, spooky season has officially begun, and it has.
Give me a side segment on that, and then we can get into it of how to cater it. But yeah, I bought Dead Space remake, very good, 8.5, 14 hours. I don't know if I want to replay it or save it for the next one. There's supposed to be an alternative ending, but I already saw the alternative ending, but I wasn't crazy about it. But I get these deals, and I have these gift cards, and when Circuit City, I don't like to buy at Target because you know what? Can I say this? Am I allowed to say this? I don't like the people I see at Target. When I see people at Walmart, I feel like they're my ilk. When I see people at Target, they want to talk to me about Taylor Swift and chai lattes. And that's not
enough
my
about
vibe.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly. When I go to Walmart, someone knows who Wu-Tang is.
I want the Swifties to come after us too because it'll actually boost up our numbers.
Well, fine, come at me. I don't care. Her music's average. There's like 3 songs I like in her, but that's just not my cup of tea. And music is subjective, so I'm not going to attack it. It's just I hate the radios for it. But when I go to Target, it's like Taylor Swift and chai latte. And if I went to Walmart, it's Bobby Pulido and Wu-Tang, and that's the kind of vibe. And I can work with it. I need that in my life. Indeed. And then with GameStop, we have a bigger plan of what we're doing with GameStop and all the gift cards.
You're actively trying to put them out of business.
Listen, as Harvey Dent said in The Dark Knight, you either die a hero or live with yourself long enough to be a villain. And that's what, baby, I plan on living until when I get the Switch 2 for a total of like $3 at most.
You are actively trying to put GameStop out of business, and it'll be with the Switch 2 because that'll be like their last big launch console before they die in 2024 or no, at the beginning of 2025 they'll file for bankruptcy finally. The Chapter 7 one, the one where they only get to come back.
To quote Ivan Drago, if he dies, he dies. So Best Buy has been there to support me, and I've had the membership for a couple months. I've saved a good amount of money. If it's only $50, I think with what I have purchased, it's already bought back into the 50. I think, I believe so, because I had the 15 savings from my PSN credit, the 15 savings that my buddy used, whatever the hell I bought today, literally right when the show started. I was doing all my transactions, and that's why I realized I took the L. I think that was a $20 savings. So, or close to it. So yeah, it's already kind of invested in itself, and it came to stuff that's nominally used. So anything helps. And the reason why I'm very much about fighting the gaming industry, they deserve their money. Developers deserve money. Publishers deserve their money. Voice actors deserve money. Mocap people deserve money. $70 is a fine bottle of alcohol. $70 is a date night. $70 is
$70 is what the Oakland A's gave Miguel Cabrera in a wine bottle.
Well, there's bad ways to spend your $70. That's a lot of money. So that's why I'm always like, no. I don't what? I got Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for free at Best Buy. So Best Buy, you're around. We appreciate you, even though I'm always hustling you. Promo code Charlie Hustle, and I just finished better. Oh, damn it! That's what I should have used. Can I steal one for Andrew after you?
No, wine is going to be long. You can do it now if you want to. I don't care.
I'll keep it up. So,
we're at 54 minutes anyways.
Perfect. So there was that. I just finished Better Call Saul on Netflix. I saw all 6 seasons. I think it is one of the more realistic lawyer shows that are out there. I swear to God, if I hear Suits one more time, I'm just gonna give it my bar.
Never watched it. Never gave it a shot. I don't care about Suits.
Yeah. Well, but that's the whole thing. The premise of Suits is like, guy fakes being a lawyer and then is hired by a firm. Like, let me sit you down and talk to you for 5 hours.
That was better on Community.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Community just made more sense as opposed to Suits because Jeff didn't get to actively continue.
Mm.
You know, he was. They didn't even go, I want to even start with it. But Better Call Saul, prequel to Breaking Bad, kind of a sequel, kind of an in between. Breaking Bad is a very good television show. As time goes on, we will actually see if it holds its test time to be one of the best. It does have one of the best television episodes I ever see, which was Ozymandias. One of 5 says, "Well, they took Saul Goodman, your crummy, corrupt lawyer as played by Bob Odenkirk, and they said, all right, let's give him a prequel, sequel, in between. It's an everything." And season 1 was a little bit there. Season 2 was good. Season 3 was good. Season 4, not my cup of tea. Season 5 was just excellent because Tony Dalton as Lalo Salamanca was just so charming. Did you know he acted in Rebelde? And anybody who had a Hispanic sister or a Hispanic girlfriend growing up in life, they will tell you about Rebelde, and then they will just talk your ear off on it. Every woman through my life, 15, 16, 17 years, right? And Tony Dalton's just so charismatic. They have the guy who plays Vass in Far Cry 3 as Nacho. They have the great Michael McKean who plays his brother Chuck. And anybody's Michael McKean, just think of Clue. He's one of the characters there. It's a very good star cast. It's emotional. It's poignant. It's funny. It has good emphasis. I think it's actually better than Breaking Bad. I know people are going to fight me on that because whereas Breaking Bad kind of dragged, and then you're seeing kind of like how delusional Walt is as he's trying to create this concept of Heisenberg and the stuff that happens to Jesse. I felt like a lot of the episodes here in Better Call Saul, especially once we got to seasons 5 and 6, partially to 4 too, really felt more like they had a purpose. But that final season, oh man, it was like 13 episodes, and then where they did a mid-season finale on AMC. Now, mind you, I don't really watch television like that, so I just wait till stuff comes into it. But I had been invested for a long time, and I remember I got into Breaking Bad right when we started law school, so I was just deep diving it right when it began. So people were like, oh, XYZ, but this one was a little bit continuous, and it has one of the most fulfilling finales I have watched that hits what I wanted. And to be a nerd for a second, I love, entertainment in that sense. Movies, TV shows. I know it sounds weird, but before Charles became a lawyer, he wanted to do the screenplay writing. He was obsessed with cinema. Love not too much. I don't have the Criterion collection. Okay, I'm not that fucking guy with a black turtleneck. And then I have like steel case books, but there was just something I enjoyed because it allowed for my imagination. I think it was a way for me to process life. When I put pen to paper, I took a screenwriting class, stuff like that. So, and I remember talking about like I'm just so sick of like all these Hollywood blockbuster stuff that comes into it that that are all sizzle, no steak. And then I watched some things like I watched the Barbie movie. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'll get to Oppenheimer's like 3.5 hours, guys. I need time. Scorsese's having Killers of the Flower Moon, which I'm super excited for. But getting that in Better Call Saul is very fulfilling, rewarding, because a lot of shows on television are a dime a dozen where there's just releases, there's too much saturation, so you have to choose your time to watch something, and it's very fulfilling. But the way they hit that finale respected the entire Breaking Bad universe, respected the characterization of, it's not a spoiler, but they bring in characters obviously from Breaking Bad into it, and giving them the proper kind of background and fleshing out those characters about how you're like, hey, look, it's Mike, hey, look, it's Walt, hey, look, it's this, and then really made you kind of, because the whole thing I remember when watching the show was like, why the hell would they want to do a spinoff with Saul, who was just very like callous and I think just stereotypical as a lawyer? And then when I started watching the show, I'm like, all right, well, you got to tell me how this guy who has a lot of depth just becomes emotionally, spiritually bankrupt. You got to show me what that is. And they answered that. And the finale was just so good. It was just. It was just so good. It was, and that's where I actually stole Charlie Hustle from, because they were talking. Mind you, my name's Charles, and I hustle at Best Buy all the time. But they had mentioned that because one of the characters called Jimmy McGill, who was Saul Goodman's character, Charlie Hustle, when he was young going into it. So it's great. It's tough to kind of recommend because you would have to watch it with Breaking Bad, I feel, because it doesn't make sense. It's like watching Dragon Ball Super without ever watching Dragon Ball Z. You can watch Dragon Ball Z and never watch Dragon Ball, though I would recommend anybody watch Dragon Ball Z. But I feel like you need that, and if it's not your cup of tea, no. But if you're one of those people who said, yeah, I saw Breaking Bad, I don't know if I want to watch Better Call Saul, I would encourage you. It's a good character study of things, of plot development, of interest, of good character. Rhea Seehorn kills it. Jonathan Banks is just fantastic as Mike Ehrmantraut. I can go on about it, but yeah, Better Call Saul. It's on Netflix. Watch it all. It is gonna get my thumbs up approval because I finished the show. Promo code, James McGill. I was gonna go Saul Goodman. I'll do it. Saul Goodman. Sure.
Alrighty. Well,
I hit my leg so hard remembering about Better Call Saul that now I feel it ache. Thanks, Francisco.
All right. So, for me, as well, I guess you know, Charles, and I went to Los Angeles last week. It's been, sheesh.
You're not saying it the way that Los Angeles.
So I went to Los Angeles last week. All right,
you heard it enough there, didn't you?
Yeah. That I've first time in like 3 years I've been to LA, and it's LA. I would never live there. I would never care to live there. There are way too many people.
I think you would kill people.
It's bad. It's just too many people. I don't like it. I don't like. It just feels so. It's so spread out, and that's the other thing. Like New York is like everything. Everybody's in big buildings and stuff like that. So it's Manhattan, and then Long Island and Staten Island, whatever. Like that whole area, it doesn't feel as spread out. But like LA just keeps going and going and going, and it's just like this is too much. This is too much. Like in here in Miami, it's just one strip of land.
You're not a metropolitan man, dude.
I don't know. I think I can be. It just LA doesn't work for me. I think I can handle New York better than LA, to be honest. But regardless, I went there and I had a good time. We had a good company party. It was great. Had fun. And
ramen.
Yeah, well, that's not the non-sponsor. You would have thought. It was my birthday. I went to get some ramen. It was good. It was spicy. Made my bumhole hurt afterwards. the next day, and I overdid it by ordering the cheesecake. I shouldn't have ordered the cheesecake.
How was the cheesecake?
Did
you eat both of them?
I couldn't finish the banana one. I only ate like half of the ube one. UBE is what it's called, but it tastes pretty good. Whatever ube is, that whatever root,
it's the potato yam.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, with a purple yam, whatever that is, it was pretty good. So I especially like the glaze they put on it. My goodness gracious, I was licking that thing up, but it was too much. The sugar hit me, and I just realized this is a mistake. And really, I like the best part of the cheesecake. I like is just like the crusty bit at the bottom. To be honest, that's the best part that I like.
Hate New York style cheesecakes then.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was good. It was good. Honestly, the meal that for whatever reason, the meal that I really did enjoy the most was the taco truck.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that statement you said, and I support you as a person.
Because
taco trucks are the bangers.
I got into Los Angeles. It was by the time I got to the hotel from the airport, it was like 8:00, and I was 6-hour flight. You're tired as hell. My knees hurt, being all scrunched up. And I did beat a couple video games on the way over, and beat a couple games, Sega Genesis games on the way back. So that was cool for gaming. But I got there, and my boss is like, "Hey, you just got in?" Because the office was like literally like 5 minutes down the road. And I'm like, yeah. And then he was like, "Okay, I'll treat you to some dinner." I'm like, "Okay." And, and I'm hungry at this point because I only had the cracker or the pretzels on the flight. And so I'm waiting for him. He's like, "Oh, it's taking me forever." I'm like, "Dude," I'm like, "Dude, it's okay. I'll find something." So, I was like, "Okay, I know there's some stuff nearby because I'd been to the area before and everything." So I walked out, and just like it came down from the heavens, Charles. There's Danny's taco truck.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't know who Danny is. There's so many Dannys, I guess. Danielle's out in LA.
Danny.
And taco truck, completely, with all the plexiglass all over, has a tiny little window that you can order from. And they got the menu there with the, they got chimichangas and burritos and tacos and all kinds of stuff. You can get chili cheese fries and everything like that. Had the whole little works menu right there. Right? And all right, this is my chance to practice some Spanish, of course. It's like, yeah,
burritos.
Déjame ver. Me puede dar nachos. ¿Con qué? Con pollo eat, and I saw the big tub, Charles. I'm like, me puede dar horchata, por favor. I'm like, yes, and she just started, churning the horchata thing in a big giant plastic tub.
Oh my god, the thing that you sent me. Oh, it looks so good.
It was so good, and I'm just
horchata is an acquired taste. I hate it when it's too runny, but continue. We're gonna
it has to have the good mix, right? And sometimes they put too much ice in it, which waters it down. I get that. But I don't know. It was 9 a.m. It was midnight back at home, of course, and I'm hungry, and I know I'm just gonna eat this and pass out. But man, I got back up to the hotel room with the big giant thing of nachos, and I was in heaven, man, with all the pico de gallo and the avocados and the nachos and the chicken. Like, it was just mush and the horchata. My goodness, that was the best meal that I had. And I thought about going back down, Charles. I really did think about maybe I should get some tacos, but I didn't. And during the night of my birthday, after I got the ramen, and after I had ordered the cheesecake and it was on its way, I was like, taco truck's outside. maybe some tacos, right? But
you're like carb loading like a goddamn.
And mind you, Charles, I haven't had bread. Before.
He eats, ladies and gentlemen, like a raccoon. He literally has a celery stick with peanut butter and calls it a day.
I'll melt cheese and stick jelly on top of it and be like, that's my meal. I'm gonna eat like 5-6 slices of cheese and do this. I've been trying to stay off the bread. That's what I've been doing. This is why this episode is called Vanity Unfair. I've been trying to stay off the bread. It's been killing me lately. So for my birthday week or the weekend or my trip to LA, I'm like, I'm gonna pig the fuck out. That's my second curse word of today. And man, I did with the ramen and the tacos and the cheesecake. And then I got home. I had the hot dog at the baseball game. I had the pizza when I came back on Saturday. But
did you have at least a vegetable somewhere in this?
I told you there were some avocados in that nachos. So like pico de gallo. There was stuff in the ramen, and like it was good, Charles. And
that calling.
And you have no room to talk because of your trip to Carolina. you were a bad boy as well.
I just literally live on burgers the entire time.
Exactly.
And a lot of alcohol. Oh my god.
And did I have a relapse on carbs? That's for sure.
You hit Ultra Instinct Goku pretty quickly on carbs.
But Charles, there was something that was saving me over the course of that trip. And it was the hotel that I was put in LA. And I have to thank my boss for putting me here because, man, and that's my non-sponsor. It is the Los Angeles Athletic Club. So the Los Angeles Athletic Club, the LA Athletic Club, it's a tandem athletic club and hotel, right? So like the first 5-6 floors, it's like any hotel. It has like it's an old one too. It's like built in 1880 or whatever. Like it's a historical building in LA, and of course there are actual athletes do go there. My boss told me, like, he was like, hey, I was there, and the Staples Center isn't that far from it. So he's like, yeah, sometimes you'll get former NBA players or actual NBA players in there, and that's pretty cool. And I saw some like bicyclists pop by and stuff like that, and they had like a thing for whatever reason there. It has a ballrooms and a bunch of convention stuff. It has fancy whatever. I sent you photos of the place. I'm like, man, this looks like I'm planning to just the type of setting where you would plan to exploit Africans in diamond mines, right? That's the kind of place that I felt like I was staying at. I felt like I was back in the 1800s in some of those rooms. But it had the works, Charles. It had the works. Just levels upon levels of different things. And they're still renovating that place. They had the gym downstairs with all the racks and all the things and all the whatever, even though you hissed at the machines that I was using.
But
actually,
you know why?
Yeah, go ahead. Explain your reasoning why you don't like the machines.
Because
despite the fact they're going to take
tinier
over.
Man. And when I say tiny, not stature, remember, ladies and gentlemen, in all things that physical, I'm 7 feet, as the memes say. I am very strength-based training with a good amount of powerlifting and cardio. The cardio is more for endurance in the heart, and then just to kind of keep it slim. But a lot of my training is the old school powerlifting, that used to come in. So we're talking about real squats, deadlifts, chest press, on top of every other thing on the fastest. So there's a lot of barbells and dumbbells or natural calisthenics, isometrics. I don't use machines because I don't think it really works with resistance of gravity and range of motion. And you see guys in a seat doing what and mind you, if you're 15 or if you're 60, then to me it's okay. Or if you're coming back from injury, I respect. I've had that. I've had to go through before. But if you're doing a machine chest press, you're sitting in a chair with no resistance. You're just pushing a car. Whereas doing range of motion, whether it be incline, decline, whether it be this or that, I finished 74, is really going to be important. And I don't think it's effectively building muscle, but more importantly, not effectively building strength. Same thing as you see people doing the crunch machine. You can literally just get a 15, 20, 25-pound dumbbell and then put it to your head like a skull crusher and then peek it in because you're working against gravity. You're working resistance. You're building your entire body. And I don't think machines allow your entire body to be utilized. And you hear whole body exercises. I'm not a nutritionist or anything. I'm just a guy just trying to look good, fit into clothing because I'm trying to fight the stereotype of the fat attorney who's overweight who eats, pizza all day. And that's not a shot at anybody.
Dies of a heart attack at 50.
Yeah, exactly. With greasy hands on his letterhead. But that's just my thought process on machines. I do machines like on legs because I don't really know how I can do certain exercises without using them, right? Mm-hmm. But other stuff like back day, man, like you would never survive on a back day with me. You would hate it. It is deadlifts, it's dumbbell rows.
And mind you, I get your criticism because I did CrossFit and CrossFit didn't use machines. It was all whatever.
I respect CrossFit. I just throw up every time I did it because I'm like.
But in any case, they had all the stuff with all the machines. They had all the conventional stuff that you like there, Charles. So it wasn't just that. But I've been getting used to the machines and stuff like that with my current workout regimen at what I'm doing. And so, but they have the works. They have all the fancy treadmills with the hooks up to your Bluetooth and hooks up to your iWatch and your iPhone. So I did that to track all the running and stuff. And of course the elliptical machines and the cycling machines and all that jazz. It was a full-fledged to the gills gym. So that's just one floor, Charles.
Oh God.
You got to move on to the next floors. They got the bar and the restaurant, and the convention center and ballrooms and all that stuff, and it's all fancy and everything like that. They've got all the hoity-toity sports in there too. You got your squash, and all that stuff like that. They have an indoor track, Charles. They have an indoor track. You want to go and take a little jog inside without leaving the comforts of air conditioning.
I would never jog in LA. They would see me in a wrestling t-shirt or in a Sonic t-shirt or whatever superhero stuff, and they would just stab me and rob me.
I just think that the air quality would just kill you. So there's that too. And they had the big giant pool, of course. The pool you can have the regular old pool and stuff like that, and of course they've got the pool where you can practice actually swimming, like competition type of swimming, and then they have, of course, they got the spa, they got a sauna, they got a barber shop in there, they got a salon inside of there.
A barber shop?
Yes, they do have a barber shop in there.
Bro, what?
You don't have to leave, Charles. You don't have to leave that hotel.
It's legitimately the Hotel California.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Such a lovely place.
Who has a... What?
Yeah. They had a barber shop. I almost went to get a haircut there. I'm like, but when I went, I was a little too early. They weren't open. But regardless, yeah, they got a barber shop. They got a shop, a training shop where you can buy clothes and bottles and whatever, all stuff that you need up there as well. And then you have the top 4 floors, which are the actual hotel with the rooftop view and everything like that.
So can I ask you something? How many people were wearing like unitards and singlets and everything? That kind of vibe? That's why.
Well, not at the gym. It wasn't that old school in that sense. At least I hope I didn't really see anything like that. But my first day, Charles, when I was leaving the hotel. Actually, no. When I finished work, I finished work on the first day, whatever, and I went in a suit and everything like that, and I had changed and everything like that, and I was going to go get the ramen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I'm happy. I haven't had ramen in forever. I haven't had carbs in forever, and I'm about to go down and like just like the vanity set in because or just like I see this woman. She's like 6 feet tall. Looks like a supermodel. I'm just like, oh, of course she's staying here to exercise and everything like that. And I'm over here like a fat slob with my Sonic the Hedgehog T-shirt, and I'm just like, hey there, you know. But I afterwards at the after the ramen place, and I go back and I see all these people just exercising. I'm like, I'm at the athletic club. I really should do something. And that's when I started texting. I'm like, Charles, I'm going down. What have I become? I'm becoming a monster. Vanity is hitting me. Like, I went down to the gym afterwards and put in my running, put in my weights, and then took a nice swim afterwards, which was actually very relaxing. To be honest, I felt really good. And then I did it the next day. In the morning, Charles. In the morning, I went to go exercise. I don't exercise in the morning, but I decided to do that.
Yeah, who the hell are you?
Yeah, I went. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do my jog. I'm gonna do my lifting. I'm gonna go to the pool, and that was incredibly relaxing. This was a great stay. I think next time when I do my baseball road trip with my dad, I think I might have to bite the bullet because I don't even know how much this costs. I dared not to see how much it costs to stay in this place because it was legit. They have a big full-size basketball court inside as well, named after John Wooden. Like they have the works there, Charles. If they ever installed an ice rink inside, oh,
You're just gonna live there.
yeah, exactly. I will transfer to LA. I'll be like, look, I can live at the office, and I'll just go across the street.
You're like, I'm your man.
Exactly. But yeah, promo code Vanity, and I did want to talk. Let me see, we're at an hour 17 minutes. Well, okay, we did talk about the gym. I was going to talk about working out and stuff like that, but I think we got a little bit of that in there because I'm starting once again, Charles. I'm the vanity is setting in. The after about a couple months of actually working out, being
Consistently.
consistent every
Tell
other.
tell that to the viewers. You just can't go 7 days out of the week, guys. If you just go once or twice,
I pay for 3 times a week, every other day, to go to because it's a class. I have an actual trainer that's doing whatever, right? So that does cost money, and it's a full body workout. I'm sore today because I worked some muscles out that hadn't been worked out in quite a bit. Today, my knees can't do it for me every day, but I do need to work in the cardio stuff on the off days. So that's the next challenge, and I'm working on I'm working on the dieting and stuff. I haven't pigged out. I had a salad yesterday, Charles. I did have vegetables yesterday, and today I just ate peanut butter, and I had some leftover chicken that I stuck in the air fryer, and I dipped that in some honey mustard, and I don't have any more cheese. So I have to buy slices of cheese. So I will be buying slices of cheese later on.
Stuart Little over here complaining.
So, but it does. The vanity does sit it when you walk in and you're looking into the bathroom mirror and you're like, well, I just got.
You're gonna be doing lawyer thirst
on,
traps.
man.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
So lawyer thirst traps to the non-viewers or non-lawyers is not the full-body thirst traps that y'all know or maybe yours truly has given in the past in a former life. I'm a good Christian boy these days. It's when you're fully suited and you don't look like a schlub. So you're just like
it's
you're
in the
bathroom.
it's the shoulders, Charles.
Yeah,
it's
where
the upper body.
You wear suit jackets, Francis.
Exactly. When things broaden out like that, it makes a difference. Like people forget what's down there in the belly area if you have the broad shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. And you wear a suit jacket for your profession, and I don't think people realize. Oh yeah, that's you're not me. Stuck with that nonsense. Well, still doesn't matter. Here, still doesn't matter. But yeah, it's all there, kids. But this is good. This is good. You're being healthy, legally lift,
Mhm.
sponsoring you here.
Yeah. So, promo code African Minds.
I would have gone with Hotel California, but I get where you're going with.
Don't worry. In any case, we're at an hour and 20 minutes, so I do want to get on the petty train. So let's go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Choo choo. Choo choo. This is going to be an interesting week. There's some disappointments on some ends, and we're going to laugh to some teams as well, as we always do, because there are some very laughable teams this week.
Choo choo Charlie and his friend Frank right here.
Indeed, Frank the Tank. Alrighty. And I had like 4 or 5 shots of tequila and did not really strike me at all. Interesting.
Yeah. Granted, I could, if I was in like feudalism days, I could just have Don Julio like make world peace amongst allies.
But I did
2 different people.
At the karaoke at the company party, because we went to a bar, and it was legit. It was really fun. Dive bar type of area, right? So like, but I did sing a song in karaoke after I had a couple in me, and
that's exactly.
Well, you know what song I sang?
I don't remember. Tell me.
"Headstrong" by Trapped.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Did you get the spike tipped hair and the very long bottom shirt with the jeans rolled up a little bit coming out?
No, but I had my my light Adidas jacket with my sleeves rolled up, and I had my blue and white Miami Marlins cap in the Dodgers colors.
Can I ask? Because I know our loyal viewers want to ask, why Headstrong?
Oh,
whereas when I did karaoke at Plugged In for my birthday, I just basically went with the songs I knew, which was every NSYNC Backstreet Boy rap song that I got out there.
Well, same reasoning. Songs that I knew. So Headstrong, I had Karaoke Revolution on the GameCube.
Oh God!
And I killed that song every time, and I would play with my parents and my sister and everything like that. So I just knew the song almost off the top of my head. I just need to see the words on the screen, but I knew the exact tone and the exact levels and everything. I just knew how to sing it because Karaoke Revolution like gives you like the bars and everything like that, and how high and how low you're supposed to put your voice and stuff like that. So I just knew perfectly, like muscle memory, where I needed, and I belted out the song, where you belong. Like I did not lose my voice. I kept it, but my larynx was dying afterwards.
Yeah, you lose it. So Plugged In, which is in Lauderdale, which I think is in Lauderdale. It's one of those things that I would recommend. But it was a good thing. Everybody thinks karaoke is meant for drunk people who like to sing. No, yes. That's really, what it's
entirely.
Definitely for.
Well, the Japanese love it, that's for sure. And
yeah,
you
don't have to be drunk to have a good time. And yes, people have bad songs. I am not a karaoke enthusiast, but I will say you can have a damn good time if you're with the right set of people. Because these days we don't have pool tables anymore. When I was doing the bar hopping days, when I was in the young 20s with me and my boy Kurt, it was playing pool, playing darts, playing Golden Tee. Oof, dude, you Golden Tee. I mean, with all the arcade cabinet stuff that we see and all that, I would rather just have the Golden Tee to get me there. However, all that being said, it's a good time. Bakamatai, man. Like, come on. I think we know that word for word after listening to it 100,000 times.
So, all right. So we're on the petty train. Let's go. So NFL, let me get the scores up and running here. So we're at week 3. And, well, you did want me to conduct the train here, Charles. I do.
You're a conductor.
I wanted to start off strong. Let's get the game out of the way. The Dolphins destroyed the Denver Broncos.
Destroyed.
To an almost historic level. And look, the Broncos are
cadavers with more fights in them.
Yeah. But have they turned me, Charles? Of course they haven't. 70 points enough? No. Was the record enough? Maybe. No killer instincts to try and get the record. And there was, I heard on Liberty Show, I know they probably said it in jest, but I think it was Billy Gill's like, no killer instinct, go for the record if you can. And somebody said, I think Dan was like, they don't want to show up, Sean Payton or anything like that. Well, if you're going to show up a coach, that's probably the coach you want to show up.
Well, yeah. Well, considering the fact that he. Oh, side note. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it. I came in 69th place.
Nice.
But with that guy, wasn't he a big Dolphins favorite when they were doing the Brian Flores stuff? So this is good for the Mike McDaniel supporters. Continue.
Right. And, revenge game, Mike McDaniel, was ball boy with the Broncos, and I guess they didn't give him a shot or anything like that. In any case, 70 points. They had to take out the starters by the fourth quarter, and almost an NFL record. The Broncos are a terrible team, though. So I still can't gauge if this Dolphins team is legit or not.
Well, you're supposed to beat the bad teams, right? That's always my philosophy. However, if I may say so, you are also supposed to. It feels better to beat the team that for some reason everybody said that this was going to be a playoff team. That was in the Broncos, right? They thought Sean Payton was the fix, right? And I understand they have injuries. Everybody has injuries. Like, our entire O-line was decimated, but I don't see anyone giving excuses. If you hear in the background, I'm opening something. I don't hear anybody making excuses for us getting killed by. No, maybe getting killed by Myles Garrett. But Sean Payton's kind of a prick. I'm saying it. I think he's falling into my Aaron Rodgers. What did you guys see into it? And I brought up the stats, and I saw in front of me that he had good records, but where's that killer instinct, right? Guy realizing how Drew Brees to ride out, and he said, "All right, I'm quitting." But continue. On this 70-point adventure.
700
get to 69.
726 total yards to 363, 350 rushing yards alone to a very not nice for the Broncos, 69. Dolphins averaged 10.2 yards per play. So essentially they were getting a first down every time they snapped the ball. Oh, they had 30 first downs. Does it feel
like an anomaly? Does it feel like that, Vic Fangio, who is supposedly this fantastic defensive coordinator, just wasn't prepared, wasn't ready? Oh, well, I'm sorry, Vance Joseph.
Fangio was on, used to be with the Broncos.
Yeah.
He was the head coach, actually. So, in any case.
Well, so was Vance Joseph.
Yeah. But, gosh, man, I just, the Broncos are just a terrible football team. I think that everybody that was trying to hype them up as something just completely miscalculated more than anything else. I feel like they overestimated, they overvalued the impact of Sean Payton with the Broncos, and once again they're gonna give him the 3 years, right? I don't know how long his contract is, but
it's a 5-year contract.
5-year contract, right? So he'll have like the first 2 seasons they're gonna give him to kind of work things out, right? They'll get to 500 next year, and then the show me season, the year 3 and whatever. So
I think he gets that full 5.
Yeah, well, we'll see. In any case, I mean, if they don't improve, they will fire the man. I think they'll just eat it at that point. But the Broncos are a terrible football team, and it was nothing that was already different from last season. It was just compounding the troubles they already had. So I still can't gauge this Dolphins team. I'm not going to poo-poo it as much as I normally do with the Dolphins, because ultimately I feel like I get more enjoyment seeing the Dolphins lose than win as a fan. But next week is the Bills game, so this will be the first legitimate competition the Dolphins will have against a legitimate coach, because Brandon Staley with the Chargers is not a legitimate coach, can't coach that team, and they barely beat the Chargers. And then last week, Bill Belichick, who is a legitimate coach, still found a way to make that game close with a terrible quarterback in Mac Jones. And so and the Broncos are terrible. So the Dolphins still need to prove it to me, and they haven't, Charles. They have not. I'll see. Maybe next game. Depends, but I'll see. And they're at Buffalo, so it's a road game.
Can I get to that, to get petty on that team?
Well, let's go down the list, right? We're going to keep going down the list. We'll hold that thought. We will get to all of them.
I'm not circling the wagons, guys. I'm lighting the wagons on fire.
Yeah, so Thursday Night Football was the New York Giants and San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are good. We all knew this.
Are they?
Yeah, they're good so far. They're by default. They're good by default, essentially. Sure. Yeah, they're good by default. They can have a default QB, Madden creator player, and they'll probably be good.
I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are the designated drivers of the NFL. You know they're tough. You know they're dependable. You know they're never going to screw you over. There's a little quirk about them. Like, well, how come you don't want to have one drink? It's your son's birthday, bud. What's going on? And then you find out they're in like the hard heroin. That's why. But hey.
The Detroit Lions beat the Falcons. So, and the NFC North, somebody's got to win it, right?
I mean, the
speaking
Falcons
of,
are not a good team.
Speaking of, the Falcons are not a good team, but the Lions got to win. So I like. Once again, good for. I think everybody wants the Lions to win, just out of just kind of like a. Hey.
I'm not saying that they're aspirational because my petty train on them at the beginning of the season was like y'all loving the Lions too much when they went 1-6. You just remember the fact that they went 9-7 to finish out the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm objective.
Just everybody likes a little scrapper, man.
I guess.
Okay. The Vikings lost. They're 0-3.
Justin Jefferson, my poor baby.
Yeah, everybody.
I doomed him.
Yeah, well,
I chose him. I'm the wide receiver whisperer, and then he's stuck with that team. I'm so sorry.
7 receptions, 149 yards.
How do you
touchdown.
not fix the defense when you could put Brian Flores in? Admirable. Maybe it's sabotaged by the NFL and the NFL reps. I wouldn't put it past me. But they had this issue last year, and they have this issue again. And then also you let go Cook, who's really not doing anything in New York, and there's debates on why, and we'll get to that portion, trust me. But you have some prime talent there, and you can't lose those games. But yet it was a no-win situation for either team, truthfully, because they both kind of were like riding their own hype.
So, yeah, the only way this game would have been satisfactory as an ending was if it ended in a tie, because they could have happened. It could have happened. These are two teams that probably should be better, and they kind of just canceled each other out almost with the way the way that game ended. In any case, so next, let's see, we're gonna keep going. I get the Packers beat the Saints 18-17.
I think the narrative, man, is gonna be like, I just want to see the Packers get to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
sorry.
Jordan Love, 259, touchdown, threw an interception, but did run for one for a touchdown as well. And the Packers put up 18, and just his first legitimate comeback.
Yeah,
and
and to be 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1 to start, and you're in the NFC North, which has a middling Vikings team, a terrible Bears team, and the Lions are your only real competition, which is saying something for the first time ever. But the Packers once again could win this division by default, and and maybe Jordan Love is finally going to show out, and this is the first instance of the next
winning
15 years.
Aaron Jones or Christian Watson.
Yeah. And
supposed starters, it's saying something.
And if the Packers make the playoffs with a legitimate 10 or more win record while Aaron Rodgers is sitting at home,
I would be incorrigible.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Derek Carr because he got hurt. It's an AC injury.
Yeah.
But it helps on the way you got Alvin Kamara back, and then I like to see Jameis have a try. My buddy's a Saints fan. He does not have kind words for him, and it just depends, right?
Hey, man.
I think really,
you're gonna get. It'll be interesting. At the very least, it's going to be interesting to watch a Saints team.
Well,
with Jameis behind
here's the perspective that I would tell people. There are some people who lose their starting backup and they go to Zach Wilson. And I feel bad for Zach Wilson. We're going to talk about that when it comes up. And there's some people who actually have Jameis Wilson who at least I would trust to come into it. So the Saints are not in dire straits.
Yeah. All right. The Texans beat the Jaguars. So,
may I?
Yeah, this is your division.
Good for CJ Stroud showing out. Good for D'Amico Ryans getting his first win as a head coach. There is no such thing as a rivalry in the AFC South. The NFL can go on for another 100 years. There's not going to be rivalries. It doesn't happen. a lot of the analysts were really riding hard on that Jacksonville team because they got to the postseason and beat the Chargers, forgetting that it had to take the Week 17 to get there, and then forgetting that we were just on like the last gas. So, and it was that fumble that wasn't a fumble that really just kind of gave them the leg up into it, right? And now they got destroyed in the last couple of games. Trevor Lawrence is not being able to do anything effectively. Calvin really hasn't done much since the first game. Travis Etienne is not running. It's just good. And mind you, my team is trash. But when the entire division is either 1-2 or 2-1, you have faith that people could bring it together. We're not playing behind the 8 ball just yet, correct? But I don't know. Do I see a potential in Houston? Sure. I think it's just going to be the carousel of mid. So I'm fine with it.
Alrighty. Let's go next. So that's that game. Next we go to alright, we talked about the Dolphins already. Well, alright, Charles. Let's analyze your team. We're here.
Nothing analyze, we're trash.
3 points.
We promote Chris Smith from one thing. So the question is, do you go
let
from
Deshaun win?
But what happens? It wasn't really that Deshaun won. It was that defense dominated.
Okay.
Our O line has its injuries. We have like 2 guys are out, and then also we had Nicholas Petfrier or whatever his name is suspended for the gambling stuff. You know, I know it sounds messed up. I'm still happy that we have DeAndre Hopkins, even though he might not be hitting 1,000 yards this season. It's just beautiful in between. It was just a bad play coming into it. We had a chance in the first quarter, and they just kind of lost that steam, lost the momentum. And I felt like it was a trap game. There's always a trap game. It just is what it is. This team, the way it can be built, I said it's either a 7-10 team or it's like an 11-6 team. There's nothing in between that you can get out of it. And I think the problem is we put fancy terminology of how we want this offense to be ran, but it really does feel like we're just kind of straying away on what makes it good, which is Henry. And mind you, it was 27-3, which we lost, so we're not running the ball. But even when I watch the highlights of the game, they're just like, oh, your passing offense is XYZ. It just doesn't seem like we're being creative with the players. We're not putting people in motion, rotation, stuff like that. Do I think it's time for Ryan Tannehill to go? Probably at the end of the season, because we already know what you're getting out of Malik Willis. Will Levis he's still hurt, I think. So why rush it? You're 3 weeks into the season. You're not 0-3. You're 1-2. You haven't played anybody in your division yet, if memory serves me correct, right? So what are we crying about?
Right.
When you're not getting a wild card team out of that division, but you're getting a AFC South champion.
Somebody's got to win it.
Why you guys want to jeopardize it?
Okay. Yeah, just win 9 or 10 games and win it.
Yeah, that was the energy last year, and we were nearly there. Week 17.
All right. Bills and Commanders.
You want to start? No, I'll
so
come in and swing.
37-3. Washington with their actual first loss, so they're coming back down to earth. All right, the honeymoon period of just not having Dan Snyder as an owner is over. Now they actually see what their football team is compared to other teams. But hey, Washington has always found ways to have scrappy teams that somehow pull off 8 to 9 victories every 5 or 6 years and win the division for some dumb reason.
Jason Campbell standing in front with the evidence.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, as far as stats are concerned, Josh Allen, 20 for 32, 218 yards, touchdown, and an interception because, of course, he's going to throw an interception. Team stats, the Bills, 386 total yards, 218 passing yards, 168 rushing yards, put up 37 on a honestly not good Commanders team, just the Commanders team that found a way to eke out 2 wins and make you feel good, right? And, hey, now we're going to go into this week with the Bills feeling like they're back to normal, that they've worked out the kinks, they finally beat up on a team they should have beat up on, and now they can go nice and comfortably into Buffalo to face off against the Dolphins and see where they really stand, trying to assert dominance. But Charles, you have some words to say to the Buffalo Bills regarding this.
Because my buddy's a Bills fan, and the last couple of years on this show has been the Charles like, I don't see it with Buffalo, and especially says they've been just falling into
regressing slowly. Okay, you make it a conference championship game, and then you don't. And I can break this down. The Chiefs are always one step ahead.
You don't get a capable number 2 for whatever reason. You think drafting a tight end, Dalton Kincaid, with your first round pick, valuable stuff, right? In the NFL, first rounders is gonna get you something in there. You don't have a sufficient running game. Your defense doesn't really have studs I can name off the top of my head anymore, right? And then you have Josh Allen, who's prone to kind of like try too much to go onto the video game.
Very reckless.
And you're gonna be all happy. And I like Josh Allen, I know, but I feel like he's going to be my pariah for the next couple of years, since a lot of my pariahs are retiring.
Or Aaron Rodgers is injured, so somebody's got to get the ire.
Well, but both, yes. So I'll leave it at that. But the Bills fans are going to be happy, and that Bills defense is going to be happy about making Sam Howell, a 5th-round pick, only started 1 game last year, who's in his really 4th game starting. He threw 4 picks, and I think it shows he played like a 5th-rounder. And it's an admonishment of the Commanders for not having a game plan. It really kind of shows how Eric Bieniemy might have to expand or do something different when the game goes on. The defense itself wasn't good, but you can take pride in the 70-20s because it's uncalculable. It's unheard of, especially with a team that has more offensive talent. Because here's the thing: we talk about the 70-20s so much on your boy Tua and then Waddle and Hill, without taking into consideration how good that defense was to take a team that has Russell Wilson, Javonte Williams, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, and just hold them to 20 points, a lot of it being garbage time. That do not count that 20 burger, right? So Buffalo, you want to be that badly, where you're dominating a bad team, whereas we're like, what's your talent? Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson. I like Terry McLaurin. Jahan Dotson's not always healthy. I don't have other people to name off of. It's a disparity. That comes into it. And I'm like, okay. I mean, maybe you could be happy that you held the proper line on Montez Sweat and Chase Young. I think if Chase Young is playing, I'm not sure. He still might be injured. But I don't like sentimental stories or feel good. You shouldn't be having the feel good. Yeah, we lost to the Jets, and then we had to eke out the win last week, but we were able to just fully dominate. We're the Bills back. If you're doing that by week 3, I got concerns. That's what I got.
Alrighty. We'll see. We'll see where everyone really stands next week.
Do you think they're gonna win next week?
Buffalo over Miami?
I'm putting it on you. I'm putting it on you right now. We don't do predictions, but since this is a very make or break on Francisco's apathy, this is a guy trying.
Well, it's not that I'm apathetic. It's that I'm pessimistic. Because I've watched every Dolphins game this season. Ooh. I have watched every game.
I thought the Marlins were stealing your time, but
Saturday, of course, this Sunday I didn't watch it because I was at the Marlins game, but and I had really good seats this time, just as a treat to Andrew once again for passing the bar. In any case, but I watched the other 2 games obviously, so I've been keeping track. Of course, they had the game on at all the TV screens inside the ballpark too, so. I'm going to put it on. The Bills are winning. The Bills are going to win.
All right. Pessimism stays.
Yeah. I just need them to see it because I feel like they're going to get popped in the mouth. And then, or Tua's going to get popped in the head.
Oh, poor guy.
Oh, gosh. It's still all hanging on by a very thin thread right now. And that's the thing. Everything can fall apart and the Dolphins suddenly become the New York Jets. So that's the thing with them. And you could say the same thing about the Bills if Josh Allen gets injured. But he's been injured before. And they found a way to make things work. So that's the thing when the Dolphins completely fall apart with any other quarterback in that system. All right. The Patriots beat the Jets. Let them toil on the bottom.
Can I speak to the Jets?
Sure, why not? They're losing. They're terrible.
Y'all need to let Zach Wilson fucking go, dude. Like, I'm not talking about releasing him. I'm talking about him being the brunt
He's
of the
gonna,
blame
yeah,
and the problems.
yeah. People are so.
I don't
so
care what
terrible
Joe
on him,
Namath
yeah.
said.
Joe Namath was also a very mid quarterback who
what
only made it
to
to Hall of Fame because he was in New York.
Because he got to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different the level of competition there, guys. It's the Bill Russell equation.
If Joe Namath won the Super Bowl in like, I don't know, what's a random city, San Diego, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So, but that's the whole thing. Like peak mid Joe Namath. You know, talking about baby mid, and here's the thing about the Zach Wilson stuff. This is not new information. We said when he was drafted that was a bad pick, but I'm bringing Tyler Hero back home. I'm defending Zach Wilson. Who am I? I'm a healer. I used to be a destroyer, Francisco, but I'm a healer. But here's my points about him. Is it Zach Wilson's fault that your big free agent running back, Dalvin Cook, can't run? Is it Zach Wilson's fault that your returning running back, Breece Hall, ain't running? Is it Zach Wilson's fault that your GM traded Elijah Moore and then Denzel Mims to leave you with Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb to be his pass catchers? Are they open? Do they get separation? Are they the guys? I would just like to know. I'm going to defend this kid here because, look, I find it super interesting to me that everybody is bringing that philosophy and that hatred to Zach Wilson in ways that they never even gave it to Mark Sanchez. They're letting Mark Sanchez get like a bye because
Sam Darnold
or Sam Darnold, yeah, right?
Yeah,
right. And
that'd be the next real comparison there. You know?
And I wonder if I was a Jets fan, how I feel about it. You know, coming from there, but I'm not. You know, I'm more reasonable. But I've been telling you guys all season this was preseason. It was a badly constructed roster. And then you add on the fact that offensive line's the problem. And yet, Wilson goes 19-36. He has picks. He has bad vision. A lot of quarterbacks do. But how is it that you're going to go into Zach Wilson?
He can learn to be better, you know.
And just not going back to, well, you know, I think it's done. I've been saying, so you got a guy to replace him, but it goes back to my comment I've been making for 3 weeks. But you didn't do anything to get the guy to replace him in case Rodgers goes down. And now you just signed Trevor Siemian, right? So I don't feel bad, but I'm going to tell you guys, in a play, y'all drank your Kool-Aid so much, but you drank it knowing that it was poison. And you think the extensions, like, why can't you say, how about this? Why can't you say that your offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, is not producing? Why can't you say that Robert Saleh actually is not a good coach? Right? Oh, because, you know, I just read something on the Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, FJOJR, Charles the True, Dan Frioli, Sports _Goofs, where they go and say, it's like, oh, he's going to lose the locker room because his loyalty of Zach Wilson. There's literally no other guy out there. Tim Boyle?
Yeah, who's the third string? I don't even know.
Yeah, Tim Boyle on the practice squad. I know this because I'm doing the Mother Teresa's work here. So really look at what I said. You had to go with 42-year-old Dwayne Brown or 41-year-old Dwayne Brown to be, damn it, I was ranting and I missed my boost, to be your starting left tackle. Like, guys, the team was constructed poorly. And yes, the quarterback takes the brunt of everything. And yes, your defense has played marginally well. However, your defense played marginally well against a Mac Jones-led, you know, offense. So that's not saying much for anything. And what the difference between a Patriots team that doesn't have much and a Jets team that doesn't have much, if something went down, relatively speaking, is at least there's some backup securities. Bill Belichick, playing his role as the all-tier all-father, essentially, has backups to the backups, you know, to really help it out. And Woody Johnson and Joe Douglas, they just rest on their laurels and say, I got a big dick, curse word number 5. And they think that's literally enough to build a perennial team. Whereas the Dolphins have backups, right? On everything. Whereas the Bills,
the Dolphins were still scoring after putting in all of their backups, you know?
Yeah, so what does that say? Yeah. Was it literally say? Yeah. Right? But, you know, let the kid breathe.
Yeah.
Y'all cried so
Colts beat the Ravens.
John Harbaugh gets in his own goddamn way. It's 3 years we've been saying this every time. Like, you know, RB1 is, and we love Lamar Jackson.
That Super Bowl is really working good for him, right?
Yeah, you know, he goes
keeping unemployed.
He goes for these 2-point conversions. He does everything. It doesn't help out. Ah, damn it, I died. but like Lamar Jackson doesn't throw a pick, gets 2 rushing touchdowns in between. They're looking to do it, and then he just doesn't go for like the kill shot to go for the win. He goes for the tie. And what I think NFL coaches forget, Francisco, very true, which I wish they realize. Defenses get tired in the final 2 minutes of a 4-quarter game. And then defenses get even more tired when it comes to an OT. It's the same Josh McDaniels logic. That man doesn't know how to coach. Where we go and say, it's better just to kind of leave it on the field with the offense and look at play positioning if you miss it or go up, as opposed to some other stuff. But good for the Colts. They won with Gardner Minshew. So, yeah, Mr. Mustache.
Yeah.
But you just letting me down, Harbaugh, letting me down.
Alrighty. Next, let's go down. We're going to think the Panthers and the Seahawks. Seahawks win.
Yeah. It's scary where your number 1 draft pick, doesn't produce on the offense the way Andy Dalton.
Yeah, Panthers are.
That's all I'm gonna comment on.
Yeah, Panthers may not have picked a good one, huh? And Gino's still doing his thing.
I've seen him live.
Yeah,
partially sober.
It's all blur. All right, next we've got the Chiefs destroyed the Bears.
Man, Matt Eberflus should not be coach. Ryan Poles.
I mean, the Bears should not be a franchise that should be in the NFL. They should be relegated to some other place.
I don't even know if like Justin Fields are good or bad. People were trying to tell me that he is good, but to understand football is that when you're down by like 35 or 28 already in the half, fellas, like the defense is getting an easy read of just like, let's just pressure. There's no running the ball. There's no nothing. And like, look, I think Fields has his big issues, but I have never seen a franchise that barren since the Houston Texans. That was an upstart franchise, which made sense at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's really no answers for the Bears. You just look at it.
You let David Montgomery
go. There's no direction. The ownership is terrible.
You let Roquan Smith go.
Yeah. They don't have they're staying in Chicago. They're moving out of Chicago to whatever suburb. I have no idea. The Bears are in flux. They no other way to say about that. The Steelers beat the Raiders.
Fucking terrible game. Going back to my segment of like
which is how the Steelers are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. No, Mike Tomlin will never go under 500. Josh McDaniels with no situational awareness. Your team is tired. You go for the 2, and if you miss, you go for it on 4th down, and if you miss it, man, you're playing field position knowing that it's on the Steelers like 8, as opposed to kick the field goal and then maybe come down with 2. I just don't. He was bad in Denver. And of course, it's the Raiders, man. Of course, it's the Raiders who's like, we're going to hire him.
Yeah.
The Colts were going to do it, and then they got lucky to a minor degree. But every time.
Tom Brady still has time to get out.
Yeah.
Before that, the money is finalized there. But, Steelers are going to find a way to make the playoffs at like 9-8 or 10-7 and win their division.
Yep.
Win their division because John Harbaugh overplays things. And
take the right hand.
And the Browns, Deshaun Watson finally gets dinged completely. And the Bengals completely underperform. So, speaking of, the Bengals actually performed somewhat. I don't know. They won the game.
I'm gonna give you a twofer on both the Bengals game and then the Bucks game.
Yeah, I kind of leave the last one for last.
So bad and uninteresting. I put on Monday Night Raw, and I didn't want to watch it, and I put it on.
Wait, you don't really watch Raw, do you? Do you?
No, I watch Raw, but usually with Monday Night, like remember we're in a right now.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes with Monday Night Football it can change. The problem with Raw is they're ringing out a lot of the same stuff that for months they've been doing it. But I couldn't vibe with the Bucks Eagles game, and I couldn't vibe with the Rams because the thing is like Joe Burrow was hurt. Why is he still playing? He threw 48 times. Yeah. Zach Taylor.
You think you protect your golden boy that you're about to pay, or you just paid.
You just paid.
And you might as well, hey, you know what? This could be like, look, the Bengals have had 2 deep playoff runs in the last 2 seasons. So, this is the other thing. You talked about defenses get tired late in the games and stuff like that. I mean, teams get tired over the course of 2 seasons going deep into the playoffs. So maybe you can have an off year, right? Yeah. You can have an off year. It's okay to finish 500 or lower. You could improve your draft stock That's another thing.
Him
And
in this one, he could come back week 5.
You're in the AFC North, which is very winnable over the next couple seasons. You're only real. I mean, the Steelers are always kind of there, and then you have Lamar and all that stuff in Baltimore. But with Joe Burrow, you would think, hey, you're set at the most important position, and you can kind of
2 stud receivers.
Run it back the next season, not this season. You can have a down year. It's fine. It's fine to rest them.
But what I'm saying is, like, you could even still have that momentum this year. No one's gonna listen. There was the Bengals. They tanked for so long, being irrelevant, working on
They're so excited to be good.
Yeah, they were working on the Boomer Esiason, levels before Dalton came in and everything came out. So what I'm saying is that he's clearly hurt. Your man threw it 48 times, and you do it 48 times for all 16 points. What? When I see 48 times, I'm thinking Tua, right, who only threw it 25 times. And I felt like their offense is just like Jamar, just throw it deep. He's somewhere open.
If anything, this would probably be the perfect time to rest them.
Yeah.
Because you can rest them. Because, you can have them for at least the next 3 quarters of a season.
You have, man. You've got 3 damn, playoff things in the wild card. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Alrighty. And the Eagles and the Bucks. So, okay. No. All right. Now the one everybody was laughing at. The Cowboys and the Cardinals.
Bro. There's always a trap game, right?
Mm. But against the team that's clearly tanking? Beyond all tanking?
To defend the Cardinals. They had it in the bag against the Giants the other week.
They weren't.
It's just what happened was, they had a way. Which NFC East team are we going to blow it to? The Cowboys or to the Giants? They're like, well, we hate Jerry, so fuck them.
Or if look, we don't want to go. We don't want to be the team that goes completely winless in the 17-game season. So we'll have our 1 win, but we'll do it against the team that everybody's going to laugh at. So, and then get a lot of eyeballs on us, on all of our guys who are going to be, trade fodder or free agency fodder. So, okay. All right. But good on Arizona for creating a lot of memes over the course of this week. So I found it very, very good. And all right, Charles, well, we're at the end. That's it. That's the end of the petty trend today. So good stuff. We actually analyzed some actual football and sports. And
this is very sports heavy.
Yeah. Well, do we have anything wrestling heavy? Because we're going to head on over to the cage.
Kind of not. Let me just get in. Perfect time because I just finished this this game. Yeah. Welcome everybody, your weekly Truplex, the Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer: wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance, poetry, emotion about people being the holy hell of each other, chasing their legacies, establishing their legacies, chasing championships, just trying to make a name for themselves, seeing which side of the grass is actually greener. And then what I tell people is, it doesn't matter, it's still grass. The question you have to ask, ladies and gentlemen, when you ever try to figure out the grass is green on the other side, yes, no, is the grass dead or alive? Think on that, right? Some metaphysical stuff as I contemplate my existence and, my legal work. Anywho, it's going to be a shorter cage. We're going to have it be AEW centric. WWE has No Mercy this weekend. And then AEW has Wrestle Dream on Sunday. So No Mercy's on Saturday. We're going to
I was just went with the N64. Sorry. I'm like, No Mercy.
That's the thing. They're stealing from the old stuff. So NXT No Mercy card. We'll go with that one. It's going to be Saturday on Peacock. Pay the $6, guys. They have The Office, which is apparently getting a reboot.
Oh dear Lord! I hope that thing fails. I really do. I mean, it's way too soon, right?
Yeah, it's been 14 years, but the whole thing is that
really 14 years since the last episode.
I graduated like 11.
Okay, but 11. still too soon. You wait like 20 years.
Maybe. I mean, like it could work.
Or you make it timeless, like Seinfeld and I Love Lucy and all that stuff. Like you just leave it as it is. But you know what? Hollywood's bankrupt. I get it.
Yeah, they're starving, and the reason why it doesn't work is because you have essentially the same concept with Parks and Rec, where you have the documentary, you have the thing, you have the romances, you have the slice of life situations, you have the light drama.
I get it. I get it. You could, it doesn't have to be a reboot. Because like you think reboot, it's like okay, it's the same thing
Characters
in the
and
same.
everything.
Yeah, exactly. What I just think it could be a spin. I don't know. A spinoff kind of derives from the original.
I just say the same universe.
Maybe the same universe, but a different setting. Like instead of a paper company, it's some other weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
You get it.
Well,
All right.
I get it. And you
That
know
was
what
a
I don't get
tangent.
sometimes? Wrestling. So I should have mentioned WWE fired people last week. Mustafa Ali being one of them. He had a
You
scheduled
sent
match
me the
at No
thingy.
Mercy.
I saw it.
I'm not going to talk about any of that the same way I did in the back thing. It is a list that seemed like it was trimming out the fat. I don't know the Ali stuff because he's actually a decent performer. I don't feel a great performer, truthfully. I wish him the best of luck. It's tough because having competition is good for wrestling, or not even competition, having other promotions that are bigger are good for wrestling because it gives people jobs. And that's what we want, people for gainful employment. I just wonder what this. Yeah, well, exactly, right. And I just wonder what the status of this. But there were some people who were out there who released Dolph Ziggler being one of them, and maybe I'll go on a deep dive of Ziggler, who has been there for almost 20 years, or close to 20 years, or exactly 20 years. Who's a former world champion. Always loved him. He did some good stuff, but their release, we'll see where they go. I'm not going to harp on it because I'm sick of the speculation games. With the first wave of releases, it was just me, just knowing what I have to do to handle Vince McMahon. That was the whole thing, where I would do all the brujeria that I had to do to get it out there, and it worked minorly, and then he came back, whatever. But NXT No Mercy preview. Card's not fully set. NXT's going on right now on USA. Damn, there's a lot more WWE stuff I got to talk about, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to try to really speed it up because we're hitting some time. Match that I'm looking forward to, this I'm going to do on the NXT stuff because I didn't really look at the full card yet. Carmelo Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov Part 2. Now, they had a first match a couple months ago, and it was very tingly to my minglies, if you know what I mean. I love Ilya Dragunov. I love Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes' whole concept is being him, right? And I channel... Sometimes you have to create a persona as a lawyer. Only a very few people at my job actually know how I am as a human being. I'm so sorry. But, you have to create a persona. So the him persona is something that you work with, that energy, right? You have to when you're a litigator, I think. And then I like his style, I like his play. I like it when he was with Slick Trick Williams, but they split up a little bit amicably. But they've had good matches between Carmelo and Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov is the Mad Dragon. He had my match of the year with Gunther, aka formerly known as Walter, 2 years ago at that takeover. Was it 3 years ago?
You like yourself some Gunther.
Oh man, please, because you want to know why he's Gunther? Because he's the gun. He's fully loaded and ready to shoot, baby. Damn it, let me be a manager, Vince. Hire me. That was good. I'll pat myself on the back for it. I expect them to have an excellent match. The other matches, we'll see. I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it. Couple things. We talked about the releases. TKO, the merger was finally completed, so now TKO is overseeing both WWE and UFC. And I think the funniest thing that ever came into is Ari Emanuel went and said, yeah, there's the dream that cross-brand of both WWE fan base and UFC fan base are going to be a commingle and like the same product that we do. And everybody was like, nah, bro, you don't know the fan base. And it's so true because I literally can't stand UFC. I'll watch some stuff. I can appreciate it. My nephew likes it more, but my problem with UFC is that you're going to hate people who like the MMA. They're going to hate me for it. It just feels like a bunch of like witless animals fighting, and there's not a lot of technique. Whereas boxing, to me,
strategy,
science, and that's what I always preferred on to. And not to say that MMA can't be exciting, but I did my time circa 2009 to 2011 going to the Miller's Ale House. And I call it the Ale House, but I guess in Florida you have to call it Miller's, which surprises me. But going to the Ale House, paying the $10 cover charge to watch these matches that were just fine, but then they could just be YouTube highlight clips. And really, I understand the whole mount and submission base, but it's a lot of humping going on. But wrestling is it's imaginary humping, actually. We're not actually, we're just doing stage rehearsal, right? We're in tights, we're shirtless, we're grappling, we're on top, we're trying to get you to submit. There's some blood involved, depending on the brand, and we're just a lot of grunting, but it just never coalesces. But so that's going on there. Raw was kind of interesting a little bit. I'm going to highlight that because Drew McIntyre, who, I haven't been into him. I liked him when he was a heel, but he's for so long. He's been a face. They're planting the seeds, Francisco, and he's turning heel, but he's not even, turning heel means turning into a bad guy, but it's not a bad guy where he's villainous, twirling mustaches and just hitting people with chairs and low blowing. He's turning heel because he's sick of playing the nice guy and the fact that everybody's just, can I curse? Dick riding. Jey Uso, now that he's on Raw, because Jey went to Raw after SmackDown, after the betrayal and everything, when he's like, guys, fellas, Jey Uso screwed us all over being Universal Champions. You guys are going to let it go? And Cody and Sammy and even Degree Owens are like, we just got to give it a try, man. You have to believe in good. And then Drew's like, nah, that guy's a scumbag. I don't care. And I'm like, yes, I get that. I understand it. I feel to it. I connect to it because that's how I would react. No, he's just beating at everybody's ass. But I'm going to give a shout out because there's watching Raw and there's watching football. But what made me be like, I don't need to watch the Bears game is I watched Drew versus Kofi Kingston yesterday, and it was an excellent match. I want more of that between those two. There's something there to pepper into it. So that's good on you. Other WWE news coming into it, next week is going to be Fastlane. We'll have a full breakdown there going into it for next week's show. WWE signed Jade Cargill, who used to be AEW. And this is the joke I always run with Derek.
Woman Crush Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Brandon Phillips.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Lucky
there
man.
You go. Yeah, well, Jade Cargill is just... I like Jade Cargill. I've hyped her up in AEW itself before. I think she has a look presentation. I think she can cut a decent promo. Her matches could be in between, but everybody's got to learn at some point, correct? And she's from Vero Beach, which is like an hour north of me. She should beat you up, bro.
She'll crush me like a walnut.
Yeah, she can crush me like a walnut. Brandon Phillips, how could you be so lucky? But I always joked with my paralegal that Vince didn't sign Cody because he saw the talent in Cody. I think Vince signed Cody to get people to jump ship from AEW, right? And that's why Cody has a guy, I think. But this is big. I think this is a good idea of if people want to leave, now they have other places they want to go to. You know what I mean? It's like if I work for the state, I'm going to go be a criminal defense attorney now. You get to kind of play the field, hone your craft, hone your legacy, build into it. And a lot of people do it. It's just we have created tribalism on Twitter. And I got to tell you guys, y'all ain't tough. You have opinions, go from there. You think everybody sucks. I just tell people not my cup of tea. But it's a good signing. It's multi-year. I don't know if they're going to put on Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. But like I said, I would comment on it because I do expect it to happen more. More money might be thrown. Because the problem is, it's not a problem, but it's an observation. AEW is getting big. It has Tony Khan has AEW. He bought Ring of Honor. There's going to be free agents that he signs. There could be homegrown talent. You as a contractor, independent worker, as a wrestler, whatever the hell they're defined as these days, have to, and maybe this is very much, it's so weird how I always bring the law and then being a wrestler in the same way with all my concepts and observations, where you have to figure out what's best for your brand, your name, your opportunity. And in the lawyer world, we have that ourselves. Are we going to be able to be the briefcase boy? Are we going to be an equity partner? Are we going to have our name on the firm? Or do we have to kind of risk it all and take a chance to do our development? That's how I feel it is sometimes now with these kind of promotions, of what you have to do if you're jumping ship from AEW, WWE, WWE, AEW. Only the old heads like Daniel Bryan, who's now Bryan Danielson, Moxley, to a degree. The rumor is Edge is going to go to AEW. Fine, sure, whatever. I don't care, man. Like, I'll watch them. And those guys I think they just want to wrestle dudes, because they're really close to retirement or they've been doing it. But for the young cats, you got to figure out where you want to be. And, no one wants to be briefcase boy, right? So the only way you're going to find out if you venture not being briefcase boy is actually just trying out some new opportunities. So good for her. Like to see what they do. I want to see if they change her name, because very rarely does Vince allow you to keep your name, because that trademark and that licensing, they want to profit off of you and just tell you, oh, Jade Cargill's now our own name, right? Ha ha ha. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. That's my Vince McMahon impression. But I'll keep it short into that. Let's go to AEW. I did watch a little bit of it. I watched Grand Slam last week, and there's two matches I would highlight that I thought was very, very good, or a couple of things. So AEW Grand Slam, they started the match off of Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong Open Championship. Fantastic match. When you don't have picture and goddamn picture, ruin everything. I'd rather just have a full commercial, man. And you want to have a full commercial? Bathroom break. They'll show you the highlights of what you missed to a degree. The picture-in-picture just kind of ruins it because
makes it tiny.
Part. Yeah, I don't need that, man. I don't want that at all.
Or just put it in the corner, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they do it, but it just go from there. But the match was excellent. Eddie Kingston wins his first big title on the, coming into it. He beat Claudio. It's the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So Claudio had it for like 10 months at this point. Eddie beats him. They have a rivalry that's coming into it. Good match. Very got the emotions coming into it. Muy bueno. Muy bueno coming into it. Toni Storm and Saraya for the AEW Women's Championship. It was actually not bad, but I love Toni Storm's character right now. I think I sent to you where she has this whole delusional Marilyn Monroe vibe that comes into it, and wrestling has to be about character. And they showed what her intro is, where it's that black and white fall drop or the gray chromatic backdrop of her entering the ring. I'm like, yeah, they get me sometimes, because sometimes you just fall in love with character, right? You fall in love with the idea, and she wasn't really clicking for me when she was over in WWE and NXT UK, but this one kind of works, and sometimes good things can happen. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara. Jericho won on an awesome shooting star press into a code breaker. I sent you that. That's cool, man. Jericho's 52. I'm gonna give him respect. Guevara turned heel against Jericho, the guy he's been in the business with since the start of AEW. They're gonna have a trios match in Wrestle Dream, which is a pay-per-view this weekend. Ray Phoenix, Jon Moxley. All right, I knew I couldn't let this one go. I sent to you AEW International Champion Jon Moxley versus Ray Phoenix. I'll cut the mustard straight to it. Moxley looked like he got knocked out. He had a concussion, everything. Ray Phoenix did the fire driver, and he won the title, and it wasn't planned. The controversy is that they say Moxley got the bump from a senton, it was a senton going over, and he hit his head. What happened was Phoenix does the driver, Moxley lands on his head, and obviously he was, I guess, supposed to kick out. Referee Rick Knox is counting. He goes to 1 and 2, and the hand literally hits the 3, and he stops it because Moxley didn't kick out. And then he, checks Moxley's shoulder, and the commentators quickly say, "Oh, I think he saw Moxley's shoulder twitch." And they're not calling the audible meaning the change that just have Phoenix win because something's out, because Mox is like knocked the hell out, right? So Phoenix, knowing or not knowing, and I trying to put on to performance, Ray Phoenix is actually an excellent talent, but he picks him again and does the same move onto his head.
Ouchies.
And then it's the 1, 2, 3. And I sent it to you, and I sent the full thing. And
like the Dolphins sending Tua back out.
That's legitimately what happened. And then Moxley was concussed, walked out. Phoenix is your new international champion. I don't know if it's inexperience. On Rick Knox, on Phoenix. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot to digest. I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm a fan, but I'm a common sense guy sometimes. If my hand hits 3 by accident, I shouldn't stop the count if you're doing it late in time, considering that this is a high risk sport, right? When people say wrestling is fake, and I go say, look at that guy get dropped his head, he's knocked out cold. This isn't Alec Baldwin with the gun. I know that's insensitive, but that's the best example that I got where that was truly possibly an accident, right? That's the only thing I got in the Hollywood world when they say it's just fake, right? So I'm sorry, everybody. But with that, it has some severe risk and injury going from there. And the better call would have been Rick Knox, let your hand hit the 3, let him go, not have it. And then Phoenix, I'm kind of like, why'd you lift him again and drop him on his head again?
Ouchies.
Because I think about Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart, SummerSlam 97, I believe, or 90, I think it was 96, where Owen did the Tombstone pile driver. Austin broke his neck, didn't die, obviously, and then he couldn't move, and then Owen took a second, but realized it, and then Austin rolled him up for the 3 count the worst way, and Owen just let his back on the back, and then he had it all crazy and acting like it was a surprise. You have to have that feel of the ring, and I do feel that the way the sport is, because it does happen in WWE as well. The sport is sometimes is that we always have to keep the momentum. We have to keep it as planned. It's always cars subject to change. So folly. Not happy with it because I like Moxley.
I'm showing the aftermath on the screen.
It bad,
them
man.
just like they're just sit like the trainers or whoever's the condition.
Well, there's a reason why pile drivers are banned in WWE, right? But we don't know if Moxley got that. But if you already have a concussion and then you're taking a light impact neck or head finisher, you could be questionable, right? You don't know. Concussions put Adam Cole out for a very long time before he came back. Main event: MJF, Samoa Joe. I wanted Joe to win. MJF wins because Adam Cole came out to help him. MJF wins, choking him out with like a not a karate, but like tape around Joe's throat. Joe shakes his hand and goes. I liked it. It was good. They have a pay-per-view this weekend, Wrestle Dream. It's gonna be in Seattle. I'm not gonna give like my insight onto it yet because it's tomorrow. Dynamite's happening, so they might put cards on there. There's 2 matches I'm gonna speak to you about that I am just like balls deep in love with, if I can curse, right? Because I have the card right now. What they say: Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. We're definitely talking about that. Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi versus Don Callis, which is Konosuke Takeshita. I think I said it right. Right? God bless me. Right? Will Ospreay and then Sammy Guevara. We highlight that. Christian Cage, who won the TNT title over the weekend, in a very hilarious fashion. I think I sent it against Darby Allin 2 out of 3 falls match. Number 1 contenders position for Young Bucks, Lucha Bros, Guns, and Orange Cassidy Hook, whatever. Hangman Page versus Swerve. Definitely gonna talk about that in a second. FTR versus Aussie Open for AEW Tag Champions. Could be good, but it has no build. I'm sorry, I need some storyline investment build. Come on, man. You know, you ever get on a date and you're very excited to it because you've had backstory to build up to that excitement for the date. That's how I look at it as. Keep it very PG here. Chris Sandler versus Julia Hart could be good. I think it'll be fine. I think everything will be fine. You know, that's the positive outlook I have for all wrestling matches. Ben and You Bebe of Adam Cole and MJF versus the Righteous of Vincent and then Dutch. The names, the things that you have to appreciate me for Francisco, because I'm giving you new names that you're never going to know it. Eddie Kingston versus Katsuyori Shibata. I like Shibata. For titles and stuff of that nature. So I'm just going to go on the highlights of what I think is going to be fantastic. Danielson Sabre is going to be fantastic. We were supposed to get it last year for Forbidden Door, and then Danielson got hurt. And I just want to see these two are very mirrored as great technical wrestlers. Let them main event it. I don't care. There's no major title that's online. I needs it. I wants it. And what I want is Kazuka Okada to come out and beat the shit out of Danielson Chris for number 7 after he beats Sabre to continue that feud because, you know, in the Forbidden Door match that happened in June, Danielson beat Okada, but Danielson legitimately broke his forearm, Francisco, and he still continued the match and made Okada tap out. And that's not kayfabe. That's real. So I need Okada to be like, I thought I was best in the world.
Respect.
And I couldn't even... Yeah, right. Well, you know my love for Bryan Danielson and for Daniel Bryan when he was Daniel Bryan WWE, but he's had a lot of considerations. I think the greatest sin is I'm never going to see him versus Gunther. I would cry. I need it. But if you can bring Okada, and I haven't mentioned New Japan for a while because it's not stale, but it's just not important in the overall scheme of things. There's rumors that Tony Khan's buying New Japan, by the way. I don't believe it. He can't buy everything, guys. I think he'll have a work.
I mean, the Japanese are pretty, it's pretty tough for outsiders to buy Japanese businesses.
And the product is different in the style of wrestling. Understand that. I think they're just going to have more of a working relationship. There's no such thing as Forbidden Door anyway, right? Everybody's always working with somebody. The true Forbidden Door is WWE versus everybody else. So I need Okada to come back, and I need him to be so guilt-ranked and obsessed that he couldn't beat Bryan. And I want to be like, I couldn't beat someone who had one arm? Because it's just going to help propel. Seriously, is that not perfect?
Yeah.
It's the heel turn that you want. So I'm interested in that and the other feud I'm into. And I'm seeing it going to develop tomorrow. And I think I sent you a link on it. Is Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. We love Hangman Page. You know this. We love Swerve Strickland. You know this too. Swerve was Isaiah Swerve Scott in WWE. Came over here, just did some good stuff. They put him some funky things, but I like his look. I like his vibe. I like his intensity. He's with Mogul MC. I like Prince Nana. I like the dance. I don't care. They built it up well where the whole storyline is Swerve wants to get to the top and have an opportunity. Hangman, because he was buddies with the Elite, was able to always get there. And he's saying that Hangman doesn't have the killer instinct anymore, so he should just step aside so Swerve can come on top or else he's going to drop himself. It is that simple sometimes. What's in the soliloquy when I have my little statements in the beginning? Wrestling about what? Establishing legacies, chasing championships, beating the holy hell out of each other. That's that feud right there. Swerve's a hungry dog looking for a bone. Hangman is content. You need something to get a little fire into. The old cowboy's got to ride out. I don't know who's going to win that. Bryan's winning the Sabre match. I want the feud to continue. It really depends how you push it off because could Swerve be the guy who beats MJF? I was wondering, and then they turn MJF face. Swerve's an obvious heel. I'm like, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
I like his coat.
Yeah, his coat. It's just so good. Like that intensity. And what I love about Swerve that people don't emphasize is that like a good actor, he has intensity in his eyes. And you kind of want that to build in. And Hangman's just so good feuding with everybody as a babyface. Never turn him heel. I don't think it's ever going to work coming into it. And he's just a good human being. But Wrestle Dream, and also it's in Seattle, Washington, which I think is Swerve's hometown, man.
Home of the Kraken.
home of the Kraken, and he's going to be cracking some heads. I'll tell you that right now. So very interested. I'm not paying 50 for it. This is why I hope the rumors about Max buying them out and subletting the pay-per-views for a cheaper price is true, because there's some stuff I want to see that I don't want to pirate, man.
Make it part of a stream package, like with Peacock.
Yeah, and I like, except I would obviously, like, Peacock was stupid just to charge $6 for WWE. You know what I mean? That's on them. 15-20 is perfectly fine for somebody. That's how I view every pay-per-view, because 50 is a video game. We're close to a video game. But I want to see it, and I want to see that. I want Francisco. I want to see that, and I want to see Bryan and Sabre, because Daniel Bryanson already made me go and pay $50 for him at Okada, and I thought the match was pretty good for what it was. It wasn't perfect. I'm sorry, guys. We hyped it up. I hyped it up too much. It was a 4, and I'm okay with that. But I think him and Sabre would just be so good, man. I can't. I'm dire straits, but and it's on a Sunday. I hate watching pay-per-views on Sundays when I get used to them being on Saturdays. I could drink on a Saturday. I don't want to drink on a Sunday. I got to go to work, and they'll be like, why? I'm like, oh, there's this man named Bryan Danielson. This is fantastic. And that's all I got for you this week.
Okay. All right. Well, that is it for us. And the Marlins game was postponed because it's raining in New York. And the Braves better frickin' beat the Cubs. I'm actually cheering for you guys today. So it's a 6-5 game. With that, a bunch of stuff for baseball with the playoff races. But next week, the season ends, and we can actually review what the hell went on.
Well, the season may end for one team.
Yeah, well,
for another.
We'll see. But that's it for us. I'm done. Bye-bye.
Take care.